everybody. Welcome to 372 Pages We'll Never Get Back. This is Conor Listoka. Me and Mike were just doing DJ voices before we signed on here. It's hard to turn it off.
Go ahead with yours. Let me hear your DJ voice.
Hey, everybody. It's 2 for Tuesday. We're going to be getting the let out right after our drive home. Traffic and weather together on the 8s.
I think if you do a little bit of Alan Thicke, where you kind of plug your nose just a little bit.
We tried to do that on a thing, and I could not do an Alan Thicke. It does not fall within my vocal range.
Well, no, you don't have to do Alan Thicke. You just have to put a little bit of Alan Thicke into your voice.
I feel like when I try to do Alan Thicke, my uvula retracts up into my throat, and that's just not a physical action I'm capable of doing.
I understand. You could also go the Casey Kasem direction, where you just kind of put your tongue towards the front of your mouth.
That's something I'm able to do a lot easier.
There you go. Casey Kasem. All right. That's not what we do here. Yeah. Yeah, we'll put the note ourselves. The actual discussion starts after the DJ.
Yes, there we go. That guy has just had a stroke listening to that. But no, this is 372 Pages We'll Never Get Back. We are not Drive Time DJs. We are Conor Listoka and Mike Nelson, and we're discussing another book that we picked up expecting not to like. And, true to the podcast's track record, we've enjoyed it quite a bit, but it is not good.
No. Enjoyed it more than most books.
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah.
We're approaching, this is the penultimate episode about it, which is, the book is Antigua, the Land of Fairies, Wizards, and Heroes, Part 1 by Larry and Denise Brown Ellis.
Written in what year?
I believe it was 2012, 2011, something like that. So,
yeah, a decade ago, and no Part 2.
No parts. 2007. So, yeah, approaching a decade and a half.
So this is kind of like, a Boston album. You got to wait a really long time.
Yep.
And it may not come out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. There's another famous part, Mel Brooks' History of the World Part 1. I guess that was a joke, though.
Yeah, that was a joke.
And so, as we've learned throughout the episode, people have done some dives into this. We may not be, if we get Antigua Part 2, it may not be from the combined duo here.
Yeah. We've joked about their relationship, and turns out reality is probably sadder than
our parody and satire that we've so quickly definitely have been just making up as we go. None of that was supposed to be taken. So, anyway, we are going to get to the penultimate section of the book. And we have all our traditional departments here. We've got our various emails from our listeners. We have dumb sentences of the week, and we've got a special edition of Real or Fanfic, which we will explain as we get closer to it. But right now, we've got a lot of Antigua to dive into because, we've probably set the record for most characters in a book. We've got an update on that coming. We've introduced multiple new races of creatures, and there's a climactic battle brewing. Can you get us up to speed on sort of where we are in the plot?
Yeah, sure. And I would just like to say, look, I try to take light notes on this stuff. I try, but there's just so much going on.
Yeah.
The Ellis the world building is fantastic and amazing. So where are we so far? There are 4 lands in the Kingdom of Antigua. Mm-hmm. There's kind of the east. There's sort of your traditional compass points.
Yeah, they don't reinvent the wheel there.
There's the east. There's the west. There's the north, where the evil queen lives, and there's the south, which I think weather-wise they're pretty much the same.
Yeah, the north was cold, obviously, and then the rest
are cold,
indistinguishable.
The rest are sort of temperate and have both plains, forests, jungles. Mm-hmm. So whatever you need, whatever you need at the time.
Right. Yes.
And in these kingdoms live 3 identical kings.
Yes.
Identical except for their names. Identical queens except for their names.
Yes.
Identical princesses except for their names and special weapons.
And special weapons, yes.
And identical wizards except for their names and apprentices.
Their top hats are identical, yes.
Yes, but they are, we have been building and building. We've been sort of stalled, really. In a battle against the evil queen. It's been sort of like chapter 1, there's an evil queen. We are going to do battle with that evil queen because she keeps sending, ghost riders after us, or 3D holograms of dragons.
Witch ghosts, yeah.
Yeah, so we need to come to this needs to come to a head. We have to put a stop to this. But before that, let's just hang out a while. And that's been the book.
Right. Yeah. Before that, can I interest you in a mini wad?
Yes. So, excuse me. So we're hanging out. But that's where we are right now. The fair is, I think, just getting over.
It's the whole time frame to me throughout this section. There was times where I was certain that we were at the night before, the breath before the plunge,
the deep breath before the plunge,
and then it would be like the queen would be like, "Well, we got 3 days. We can sort of we don't have." It's like, "Well, I thought we were the night before. I thought they were landing at Omaha Beach, but no. The time frame seems to vary depending on where we are and who we are, and the time frame seems to vary based on who's writing this because." Though the sense of urgency is there, we start off this, I believe, 3-chapter section with 2 that are entirely focused on the wizard apprentice Jonathan and his various gripes with his fellow apprentices.
Yes.
It's incredible.
But because we compare it so very often, we compare most of our books to World War II, and you just did. Let's go back to that.
Sure.
Remember when Eisenhower, before, they kept waiting that the tide had to be right and the moons had to be right. Uh-huh. And so for a while, they just hung out with that talking gorilla. That was the unknown part of leading up to the Battle of Normandy. Was that?
Yes.
So that's an oft forgotten part of history that I think people should read that book.
Yeah, the Gordel advised in that if this invasion is unsuccessful letter that Ike had prepared.
Exactly. Yeah.
We'll get to it. I have a note there that's has something about Ike and D-Day here. So
okay.
I have too many notes to find it immediately, but we'll get there.
Sure.
So let's get into it. This is chapter 12 where this begins. I feel like I stopped demarcating my chapters at some point in time. I think we read from chapter 12 to chapter 15. This one starts with, as we said, it's on the eve of the great battle, and the great wizard Vlandorf is unhappy with his accommodations in his tent. So,
yes. So what does he do? He does what all, if you're thinking about wizards, of course. What do wizards like? Well, they like beautiful lace drapes hanging down from the top of the tent to the ground, beautiful king-size beds to rest on.
Yeah.
Beautiful chaises to sit on, and all kinds of exotic plants decorating their tents. Wizards, the classic wizards.
Yeah,
stuff.
What do you think about Radagast the Brown with a bird nesting in his beard? This is, he was just going home to a home full of beautiful lace drapes and king-size beds. So yes. The bed-size standards are translating to the magical land of Antigua.
Right.
I had to look that up just to see, because we don't know how time works there. We don't know how long it's been around. The bed size standard started in the 1870s, and then the invention of the box spring in the 1910s caused them to evolve. And then king and queen sizes were not along until the 50s.
Oh, yeah. That seemed about right for me. I was going to say 1870s.
Yeah, that was when they were just like, here's a sack of slightly softer than average turnips, and that's a full bed or whatever.
Right. I wonder if, Vlandorf, did he disrupt the industry? Did he make his bed? Because it doesn't say exactly how he got it. He's just sort of wished them into existence. Yes. But did it come in a box the size of a mini fridge that he cut open?
Yeah, he used promo code Nasty Fox in order to get 20% off.
Yes.
But so the whole point is that he walks in and he says this isn't suitable for a wizard to rest in, and he waves his magic wand and zaps things, and it makes you wonder why people are even decorating the wizard's tents in the first place if they are able to just show up and zap it, and there's a poster of Cheryl Tiegs on the wall all of a sudden.
Right, yeah. I guess if you're having a wizard over, you don't really have to worry. Son, go make sure the beds are made, and
yes, yeah. Mom,
it's a wizard.
He's just going to zap it and make new curtains.
There's going to be an electrical charge coming out of his wand.
But then the whole point here is that the wizard Jonathan is trying to use mind games to trick Vlandorf into approving a challenge between Jonathan, Brandon, and William, the other wizard apprentices. And his mind games are essentially sort of just like asking if they can have a challenge.
Yes, that he plays. He's like 3-level chess against this poor wizard who's busy making sure his doilies have the correct amount of holes in them or whatever. And so this is how it's laid out by the Ellises, that this clever mind game is happening as Jonathan approaches the wizard. He says at one point, "I have to be clever in making the old wizard believe that this is just practice for the impending battle and not a challenge." And then a sentence or two, and then the wizard apprentice Jonathan was trying to use mind games to trick the wizard Vlandorf into approving the challenge. So thank you for repeating that, because I had forgotten from the sentence right before that that was what was happening. So thank you.
Yeah, we focus so much on the absurd number of characters and the exclamation marks and the talking gorillas and nasty foxes that. Stuff like that, where they do just sort of repeat the same thing 3 times and always do it 3 times, gets lost in the mix. But it's important not to lose that level of insanity by focusing on all the other levels of insanity in the book.
Yes, and if this book were otherwise like we were happy with how this book was going, we of course wouldn't pick on spellings like "I have to be clever." Sure. But I'm sorry, but I'm just going to.
Yes, no, those are delightful when they do pop up, but we get a few more of those this time.
Yeah.
So the wizard says, like, this sounds good. We got to do this. I'll alert the kings, queens, knights, and princesses so they can all attend. And so you have to imagine at least the knights would be like, honestly, there is the battle of our lives awaits us, but. He does insist that they come and watch this thing. And the Ellises have laid it on thick throughout the book, like we knew from the very first mention, the first time that Jonathan smiled wickedly at someone, that he was going to go to the dark side. But then it says here, when Jonathan got outside of Vlandorf's tent, an evil expression came on his face. So it's really not subtle at all, and just if you were to be uncharitable, you would say that this alone disqualifies it from their intended age group here of the preteens or whatever they had said. So
sure.
Denise did not address this in her book, but they do lay out the challenge here, and it's just to keep in mind that this is the climactic battle. In theory, could be 1 page away at this point in time.
Yes.
But they then lay out a Harry Potter Wizard's Cup type of thing. The challenges are, there's going to be a race. It's a four-step challenge. A race.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be, they have to fly to Blackwoodsbury Forest, which is full of witches, warlocks, and strange creatures. And it is also an island.
Well, okay, I have the 4 written down. I think you skipped over the blandest one.
Okay, sorry.
So there's 4 challenges.
Yeah.
I had to tease them out because it's really, the way it's written is like, wait, and the 4th is wait, you said 4? It was very confusing, but the first was a wand race where you ride your wand.
Yes. Only
1 winner.
Okay.
The second race, fly on your wand, only 1 winner. This time to Blackswoodbury Forest. Third challenge, fly on your wand to the kingdom of Alexandria and retrieve the special sword.
Yes.
And then challenge 4, levitate an item without touching it. The item must be heavy. Now, so that's 3, climb on your wand and fly somewhere.
Fly somewhere. That's the key important, because remember, he has just instructed the kings, queens, princesses, and knights all to attend this gathering.
To attend the thing and watch it.
So now, they pay, they buy their ticket, they get some popcorn, they sit down, and they're off.
They fly away.
They fly into Blackwoodsbury Forest.
And they literally, there's a description of that later, that they return. But anyway, the odd thing about it is, okay, challenge 1. And then here's a quote. The second challenge is the most dangerous of the 4. Okay, I mean, you guys got your own way of doing things.
Sure.
It's very untraditional. They usually build, but that's kind of interesting.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, once you've done the stated most dangerous challenge, which is flying to Blackwoodsbury Forest, which is also an island, it does make lifting a heavy object slightly less of a climax there.
It made me wonder, like, I don't know if you've ever. I used to occasionally watch a good strongman competition.
Sure. That was
giant guys putting rocks up on things.
90% of ESPN2's programming in the early odds.
And I think they would have to rearrange things because they'd realize that, like, I guess the putting the rocks on the pillars thing is like a crowd favorite. We used to put that at the front. But here they're just going to do it. They're just going to say, look, the second challenge is going to be, it's the hardest and it's going to be the most exciting. And from there, we just sort of do some crap.
Yes.
So, I mean, kudos to them. They're shaking things up.
Yeah, the people could be sitting in the stands, as they have flown off to Blackwoodsbury Forest Island and be like, is this supposed to be how long it's taking? I know it's the most dangerous. Maybe they're not coming back from this. And, at what point in time do you be like, we really have to get to the battle?
I was thinking about the vendors. Mm-hmm. So when you have this kind of a competition where immediately the people fly off and go somewhere else for 10 hours? I don't know.
Sure.
Who knows? They don't really give times.
No.
If you're a vendor, I mean, you have to be happy with. I'm assuming there's like games of chance and stuff like, well, they're off, people. So now come on over to my ring toss.
Right.
And also drink my, here's my green, my hurricanes or whatever. Yes. And so you must be happy like, oh, please, I hope one of them gets killed in the forest and they don't come back because I am making bank here.
Grief is great for Dippin' Dot sales.
Yes.
But it could also be like Major League Baseball where, bottom of the seventh inning, last call for booze, last call for, whatever their equivalent of mead is here in this town. So if that kicks in, an hour into the Blackwoodsbury Forest most dangerous challenge? That could be a disaster if they haven't even gotten to
17 inning, flying
if they haven't gotten to lifting the heavy object yet. It is pretty great that they just he announces this challenge as the guy is rearranging his tent. The guy is immediately like, sounds good. Here's the 4 challenges off the top of his head, and then next thing you know, the kings are being escorted into the stadium to watch this.
Yeah, so if you're the king, you're pulling on your attending a competition robes or whatever because your wife is like, get in, we have to go to this thing.
You cannot wear that, yeah.
And he's like tugging at the sleeves. What am I doing? Putting his watch on. Like,
I had just put on my chainmail.
Yes, aren't we? We're going to battle. I was, that little breastplate for my horse? I was having that strapped on. Like, no, we have to go to this thing.
No, Jonathan Chatham's William. Like, who? Is that Timothy? Is that the same guy?
Oh, yeah. So he sits down in his royal chair and watches some wizard apprentices fly away.
Yeah. And so once they've flown away, Thandorfer does put on some more fireworks. And everyone in the arena started laughing, yelling out, and clapping their hands at the beautiful fireworks display in the sky provided by the great wizard Thandorfer. And that's where I had my D-Day comparison. I said it was as if Ike had made everyone sit down and watch his kids do a Pinewood Derby before the invasion.
Okay, good. I just wrote this down with the note, this is incredible. And I took these notes a while ago, so we'll have to find out why this is incredible as I read this. The pixie Tamari saw the fairy Prisandra flying by. Tamari took a small stone, threw it, and hit Prisandra upside her head. The fairy Prisandra screamed out. She turned around and yelled, "Oh, Tamari, I swear if I catch you, I'll destroy you." Tamari, who was laughing and flying around, said, "Oops." She covered her mouth and then flew quickly away before the fairy Prisandra could catch her. So this is just, I guess we're just supposed to, like, that's a little side note. Before as the storm builds and everything. Once again, like, we're just supposed to focus on, why am I paying attention to this? It's like, it's like in a cartoon where you just, for 1 second, you see this little thing. So we see 2 fairies throwing stones at each other's heads.
Yeah, I don't know if they're supposed to be, Toby Belch and Andrew Eggachik and the 12th Night type of thing. If those had been constant characters throughout this of, comic relief asides, maybe it makes sense. However, I didn't look to see whether that was a pixie or fairy we had seen before. There's been so many, but they're possibly they've been here before, and possibly it's their first appearance.
throwing stones right upside her head, though. It just doesn't seem very fairy-like.
Yeah.
It seems like Scott Farkas would do that.
Right.
And then his crummy little toady would laugh.
And then the oops is not even specified as being sarcastic, so maybe it was genuine. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so.
Speaking of sarcastic, there is an exchange as the wizards are flying off. Jonathan looked wickedly over at William. The Wizard Apprentice William looked back at Jonathan and smiled sarcastically. So that's kind of a fun challenge, is to imagine how you would do that.
That is, but I'm glad this was the one I thought you were going to call out, and this one is a little more explicit. The Wizard Apprentice Brandon accidentally flew right through a barn and passed by some cows that were inside. One of the cows said, "Moo." So...
that reminded me of some Looney Tunes as well. Just sort of like, Brandon gets something in, the chicken in front of his face, and he finally clears it just in time to leave a Brandon-shaped hole in the wall. A cow moos, he leaves a Brandon-shaped hole in the other wall as he flies out of there.
One of the cows said moo. That's right.
Yeah, right.
Just like standing up, leaning against the fence, sipping a cafe Americano or something, and then flies through and goes drops the monocle in his espresso and goes, "Moo."
Yeah. Well, because we're in a world where virtually every other animal we've met has talked,
sure.
Be it fox, gorilla, etc., monkey. I think so. That's the cow's catchphrase. That's how the cow greets humans. Who's to say? But it's also good to acknowledge that the cows do exist, because we have seen a lot of cow's milk being drunk. So
that's true.
It's important to know where it's coming from.
I'm going to consult the map now. Here's they flew to the end of the westernmost kingdom of the land of Antigua,
okay,
and then turned around and headed back to the marketplace. So, how much are we talking here? I'm in Minneapolis. Am I flying to Iowa, or am I flying to Arizona?
San Francisco
am I flying
Bay?
to San Francisco Bay?
Yeah.
Do you have any concept?
I mean, people have done a great job making those maps. I don't know if there's been a scale involved, though.
Okay.
Although, didn't Rebecca, come from the ocean to this area in a matter of days, though?
I guess so.
I don't remember which side the ocean was, but
okay.
yeah. No, one listener, I believe Patrick, updated the map to include all the new lands that were revealed in this one. So I've posted that this morning. But if anyone can develop a scale, that would be really appreciated.
Sure.
Here's a question I have for you. Once the boys return, and Lendorf says, "Look there, the young apprentices are back." The crowd looked up into the sky and saw in the distance the three apprentices flying back to them. The crowd roared with cheers and laughter. Did you do a lot of roaring with laughter during Game 7 of the 91 World Series?
Just hashed that game out with another fan of that game who was much younger than me, and I was like, "How do you remember that?" I don't remember that, but I do remember that. I don't remember roaring with laughter.
Jack Morris coming back out for the 10th inning. You weren't just like backslapping and roaring with laughter. Okay.
When TK handed him the ball back, yes, I went.
Does seem like a fairly common reaction for crowds who are approving of something to do that, but
sure. But the Wizard Vlandorf has to bring them up short on this, which I thought was good, because the Wizard Vlandorf said, "Young Jonathan, this is not a competition. We only want the three of you to get ready for the battle with the sorceress Guinevere."
Yeah.
We had 2 pages of him explaining the competition.
I said paragraphs earlier, it has to be a race. There can be only one winner. There are no points for second place. Points!
Guys, please, this is not a competition.
Yeah, it's like the reverse over the top. Ladies and gentlemen, please, this is not a competition. But it's because the crowd is chanting William's name, but Jonathan yells out, "I flew just..." So William won. I mean, the good guy wins and will win all of these, obviously. But Jonathan says, "I flew just as fast and just as far as William did. Why are all of you cheering him? What about me?" So, I mean, he didn't fly as fast as him. He flew slightly less fast than him, thereby finishing in second place.
Yes.
So it's a shame that our Olympics we just didn't have a silver medalist making that claim from the medal stand. Hey, I was just as good as him. Like, sort of undercuts the whole spirit of competition.
It's not a competition, man. Now stand on the podium and take your medals 1 through 4.
It's incredible. But they very quickly move on to phase 2 of the competition.
Yes, and phase 2 is Blackwoodsbury Forest, which to me sounds like a soap maker on Etsy or something. But Vlandorf's magical wand lifted itself up in the air and flew out of Vlandorf's tent. The wand flew through the air by itself all the way to Blackwoodsbury Forest. Mm-hmm. To use another military thing, is this like the U.S. military, like pulling one of their aircraft carriers out of the Baltic and like giving it to the Boy Scouts or something? Like,
right.
Vlandorf, don't we need that?
Yeah.
It's like the only thing that can destroy like ghosts, and 3D dragons. So maybe hang on to that.
Yeah, the most powerful object in existence. And Gwendevier has Orin the Owl who can see all this stuff happening. So it would provide a great opportunity to attack.
Right.
And yeah, it's on an isolated island. It's out on like, the sea land or something, because Blackwoodsbury Forest requires you to cross over to the side of the ocean ruled by King Harnaqua. So the boundaries here are once again invoked of his line of tape down the middle of the ocean. Right,
and we get a really good sense of what their, I guess what their missile warning system is or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm assuming we have, they're
you'll
hurling
have 22 minutes until the missile lands. We've detected it.
They have it there in the waters of Antigua with King Harnaqua, because he looked up from the ocean into the sky and saw the Wizard Apprentice William, the Wizard Apprentice Jonathan, and the Wizard Apprentice Brandon flying over his side of the ocean. So don't think, you can pull one over on them. They got this system in place where the king looks up and sees stuff.
Just flying over his side. Like, they could really annoy him by like being right on the other side, but doing the walking 2 fingers over to his side of the ocean.
Yes, exactly.
Like you do in the backseat of the car with your brother.
Yes. Amazing.
But he zaps, I believe, William, the good guy, knocks him into the ocean. Jonathan keeps going because he's obviously evil. He doesn't care. But Brandon tries to go rescue him. It says the Wizard Apprentice William was shaken up but still conscious. He wasn't hurt at all. He was sinking to the bottom of the ocean. So as you're sinking to the bottom of the ocean, you could be described as being shaken up. That might be the way after you take a foul ball to a finger and you're sort of trying to shake it off.
Yes. Yeah. Boy, my hands sting. It's cold out here in that pitch. Yeah. I fouled it off. Yeah.
An anglerfish just swam past me. I am shaken up.
And then, he wasn't hurt at all. He's sinking to the bottom. And then I think he confronts a shark, right?
Yep. A large gray shark.
Was just about to swallow William whole. Okay, swallowing whole. And then the shark almost got close enough to the Wizard Apprentice Brandon to chew him up into pieces.
Huh.
Which is he going
Make
to
up
do?
Your damn mind, yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, maybe he saw William and maybe William's on the slighter side, but maybe Brandon's a beefier boy who required some masticating.
Yeah, okay. All right, that solves that issue. Yep.
No word on whether the shark had swords for noses or teeth or arms or whatever the hell was going on that first time we met the sharks.
And no, what's the name of the octopus?
Charlie E.
Charlie. Okay.
No. Oh, alas, no. No signs of Charlie E., the mini-wad, or the octopus, and the brother is still out there somewhere.
Right.
Back in Wales. It has been pointed out to us that we've imposed a bit of confusion into the situation because we know that Rebecca is from Wales. That's been revealed.
Yes.
And I believe we had her at some point in time either being in London or trying to get to London. People said that there has been no London. London has not been mentioned.
Okay.
No one's taking the tube anywhere. That's just an invention of our confusion.
All right. It was not clear though.
Yes.
I think we could state that.
Well, they get to the forest, which is
yes.
Fortunately Jonathan gets there and flies around the beginning of the forest, which is an interesting way to describe a spatial location. It's very much like it's like a 5-year-old telling a story, but it's also like a video game, I guess. And we get some nice description of sort of the cosmos here. It says that the moon in their world shined more brightly than in Rebecca's world. So that's interesting. We get a description of the stars later. I believe the stars are 3 times bigger than the stars in Rebecca's world.
And Rebecca's not there, so this information is coming from the omnipotent narrator.
It's a very funny way to describe it, as these two guys who I guess they've met Rebecca. They have. They walked. William and Rebecca walked, right, for like 4 pages.
They sort of held hands or whatever.
But it would have been funnier if one of them had remarked that it was the moon in our world is much brighter than Rebecca's world.
Sure. Yes.
And does the moon shine? Right. The moon reflects the sun's light. Just to be pedantic. Sorry.
Yes. Here's my question. What do the Ellises think forests are? Because when the wizards approached the forest was very dark. There were no lit torches anywhere in the forest. Hello? What?
That's like a 1-star Yelp review of like Sequoia National Park or something. No lit torches, very hard to see.
1 star, couldn't get the box open. Send it back. Thanks for that review.
Yes. The trees are hundreds or even thousands of years old. Some of their branches spread out over 50 feet long. The tree trunks themselves were made of black wood, which was not seen anywhere in the land of Antigua. This is why everyone called the forest Blackwoodsbury. And true to the style, all of those sentences ended in exclamation marks.
There's only a few times that I call out the pure undistilled Ellis style, but I will here because this is just like, it's like the perfect.
Okay.
It's like 2 fingers of a whiskey that you're just like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is the best.
Hook it to my veins.
The wizard apprentice Jonathan continued his journey around Blackwoodsbury Forest to look for the great wizard Vlandorf's magic wand. The wizard apprentice Brandon walked carefully through Blackwoodsbury Forest in search of the great wizard Vlandorf's magic wand. Yes.
Yes, it's perfect.
Perfection.
Yep. Little Dwight David Thrash copy paste with a touch of horrible fantasy.
Beautiful.
I was confused what you were going to read because I thought this was an exemplary thing as well. They have this very strange style of describing something that you understand very well by referencing another thing that's almost identical to it. These are the Blackwoodsbury trolls, which of course come in an army of 7 that approach. They had claws as sharp as razors, and they carried spears with tips as sharp as knives. And it's it just gets buried. But the fact that they need to convey to us that a weapon is sharp by comparing it to another weapon that is sharp is just sort of delightful to me.
Well, continuing on, here's how not to describe a person.
Okay.
The young woman started to run through the forest. As she ran, she was laughing and giggling. The wizard apprentice Brandon ran after her. She was so beautiful that he had to know who she was. Finally, the young woman stopped running. Brandon also stopped running when he caught up to her. The woman was about 24 years old. She was actually the most beautiful woman that Brandon had ever seen.
And the wizard apprentice Brandon felt a strange attraction for the woman. That is amazing. That's a character introduction to be replicated and taught in schools.
We should take well-known figures and try to describe them in the way that was just described.
Yeah, action in between sort of escalating levels of beauty, a weirdly unspecific yet still specific age in a book that's been full of specific ages.
That is, of course, it's so funny because obviously it is some sort of witch, but it does go on for quite a while.
And Brent, these 3 wizards, as we've said, every character has been indistinguishable, and the only difference here is that Jonathan was obviously going to turn evil. I didn't know that William and Brandon had a difference here, but it turns out that Brandon is the dumbass of the trio.
Yeah, Brandon's a dumbass, and William is kind of helping him.
Yeah. But Brandon is, he's loyal and nice. But he did say at some point in time, like, all the other guys think I'm slow, or like they think I'm a loser or something. And that was like, oh, has this been happening before? I never picked up on if they had laid any of this down. I had never noticed it before.
Yeah, I think he's like a dog that Bugs Bunny has a run in with.
Sure, yeah. Oh, he's
the rabbit one.
The lady is pretty and 24, Bugs. Yes. But she says, and she also doubles down on that. She says, the trees know who I am. Nothing will happen to me here. I have lived here for the past 24 years. So that checks out that if she was about 24, maybe she moved here from, the east part of Antigua when she was like 1, but she considers this as being where she's from. Just cause
like, where were you born? Like, well, I mean, I was born here, but I was born in Germany because my dad was,
in the military.
In the military. But so after paragraphs of that, this is obviously like, a witch tricking the pretty lady. Yeah. She was hoping that he would hold her hand and allow her to lead him deep into Blackswordberry Forest. It was a trick. So the Ellis had me like hook, line, and sinker. Like, oh my gosh, is he going to? It's a trick.
Yes. They do that. They say just a few sentences later, what the Wizard of Brutus Brandon didn't know was that the Casadorna was a witch. So that's... They have some great storytelling in this thing where just they undercut any, even if you were Brandon yourself and reading this thinking it was actually just a pretty lady that living in this spooky abandoned forest. They tell you that before it's revealed in the book.
Sure. I've got my own sonic challenge. I'll just do this for myself. Okay. Because she flew through the air and screamed at Brandon. So I'll do that. She's flying. Ah. Oh, wait. Oh, hang on. Let me read the next sentence. Her scream was a piercing scream. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
You got ahead of it.
Damn, I should have.
You got to read these things, all at once and then go back for your sonic challenges.
Okay. Yeah, all right. Okay, now I got it. Okay, there you
go. Piercing. Well, she was furious and determined to destroy the young wizard. This is awful. How is he possibly going to escape this? He's doomed. Brandon pointed her wand at the witch, and then suddenly she disappeared. All that was seen was a puff of smoke. So for approximately, I think the probably around 24, like her age, a wizard has wondered what will happen and then remembered that it's well within their power to point their wand, zap anything, and it will disappear in a puff of smoke. And believe it or not, that's not going to be the last time that happens in this section.
Yes. And Brandon goes, "Oh, lady disappear."
Brandon, not joke. We get the wild boar attack, which I believe we covered in maybe one of the bonus Reeler fanfics.
Yeah, that was Reeler fanfics. Okay. The wild boar.
B-O-R-E.
Yep. I'm afraid we have to do it because it is said over and over again, and it's described.
Yeah.
And the boar, B-O-R-E, was a type of wild pig.
You don't want to, wonder if this is like a mini wad type of thing, since it is spelled differently.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay. But it is. Sometimes you have to tip your hat. Maybe it's Larry, getting his sense of humor in here. But he says he heard the noise again. It was like a snorting sound. Out of nowhere, a wild boar ran through the forest right toward William. The boar was a type of wild pig. The wild animal was over 300 pounds, and it was 5 feet long. It had a thick black coat, was dirty, and smelled really bad. William didn't have time to worry about the wild animal's physical appearance. Oh, Larry, if that was you, I tipped my hat. It made me laugh.
Well, I appreciate you tipping your hat there, Captain. That was me. I came in. My wife was out for a little bit, so I sat down at the Mac and I typed that out, and I'm pretty proud of it.
Oh, Larry, let's meet again. Corona's on me, man.
Sweet, another kahuna for the whole room. Let's do it.
And finally the boar just gets bored, I guess, and runs off into the forest. So when they stop zapping their way out of scenarios, it just gets even more boring than just zapping and pointing in a puff of smoke.
Yeah, I guess the only good thing about then he gets trapped by the tree or whatever.
Yes.
And then he had to remember a trick that the great wizard Vlandorf had taught him. The wizard apprentice William decided to transfigure himself into a snake. William closed his eyes and yelled, "Transdom transforum slither." He had to remember a trick.
He had to remember that he had been taught that he could turn himself into a snake.
Yes. He had to remember to decide to transfigure.
Man.
Human beings don't communicate this way. What is happening?
Yeah, it is. It's that Kleinian, I felt myself remembering that I could turn myself into a snake.
Yes.
And after that, then they've been attacked by Blackwoodsberry trolls, a 1,000-year-old tree, the wild boar, and now some Blackwoodsberry beasts. And
yes.
This is where we get another thing that, there's a lot to stack up here, but you don't want to lose sight of the Ellis's bizarre fascination with slapping children. Because the black woodsberry beast that William was battling slapped him across the face so hard that William flew up into the air away from them and landed on the ground. He was stunned but still conscious. So the slapping just continues, and again, not even the second to last time that happens in this section.
I think I missed that, but that's good. Because I was fixated on this. This is apparently, in their world, one of the very few metrics they have to measure other creatures.
Okay.
The Blackswoodberry Forest was full of gigantic creatures that were 7 feet tall. They were hairy like a bear and even more powerful than one. They had the strength of 2 bears. and that's, again, like a little kid. You're going like, he's a big thing. He's like 7 feet tall. And he comes out and he's more powerful than a bear.
Oh, how much more powerful?
He's 2 bears.
Oh, that is more powerful. Yep,
give me a fruit snack.
the biggest number you can think of. It's double a bear.
Yes.
So yeah, the science textbooks in the land of Antigua have all infographics just list bear as opposed to how many strengths they're able to contain.
Not the last time things will be compared to a bear.
Not either.
I'm pointing that out.
And so, how do they disperse these things that are the strength of 2 bears? They force came out of the wand and made all the blackberry beasts that were attacking William disappear one by one. All you could see was a puff of smoke.
Okay. And then, so this gets to a technique that we've heard many times, but I've figured out. I'm going to try it on a different thing and see if you can figure it out before I get to the end of it. Here's the technique.
Okay.
The wizard apprentice William walked past a large tree.
Okay.
The tree was very old.
Okay.
That's a very odd way to tell a story, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It seems like a waste of words. But here's my technique. A man drove past another man. The man was older than the other man. The man was in a car.
Uh-huh.
The man's name was John Kennedy.
Oh,
the other man had been to Russia. The other man's name was Lee Oswald. So that's how you tell a story.
Yeah, that is.
Now you get it.
It combines the him meeting the witch with the him walking past a tree techniques.
Yes.
But it was Oswald's strength compared to a bear. That's what I need to.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Strong like bear.
Maybe the umbrella man had the strength of a bear. Who's to say?
Yeah.
William, of course, by that tree, the old tree, very old. He finds the wand in there. The wand embedded itself in the Lee Harvey Oswald tree. He plucks it out. He yells, "All right, I won the challenge. The nightmare is over. Come on, wand, let me get you back to Vlandorf." The wizard apprentice Brandon and the wizard apprentice Jonathan both heard William yelling out at the same time. They both knew instantly that William had found the missing magic wand. They both knew that the challenge is over. And I think they might have been able to intuit that by saying, "I won the challenge. The nightmare is over."
The words of the wizard ringing in his ears, "This is not a challenge."
Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a competition. But that's what he wanted, right? Jonathan wanted to use his mind games to get Vlandorf to approve this, not thinking it was a challenge, right?
Correct.
And then the very first thing he does is bitch that he wasn't, that he wasn't winning or didn't get points for second place.
Look.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Right. It's a very old tree. I'm sorry.
Right. But yeah, this is one of those cases where they're rooting around Blackwoodberry Forest for God knows how long.
Mm-hmm.
And to keep that kind of energy up, I remember once I did a TV show where we had to tape like 6 episodes with the same audience.
Oh God!
Yeah,
it's like Jeopardy, I guess.
Yeah, and you had to keep warming them up and making sure that they, can I get you a soda, in the back, and
right.
I was just a writer for it, and I just got so irritated. Like, really, we'd go, "Hey, folks, can we get one more out of this?" It's a half an hour show. It'd probably take an hour and a half to tape.
Mm-hmm.
And the crowd sitting there in bleachers goes, "Ugh." And it's, it's a comedy.
Right.
But so anyway, that put me in mind of this. Like, they flew off. They're in Blackswoodberry, and the whole crowd is like looking at their watches going like, "Well, I'm out of here. Obviously, I have no idea. And everyone going like, no, please, the king is still here. Everyone's still, just hang on. I'm sure they'll be back in a minute. Like, what is this bullshit? I'm not sitting around.
No, ladies and gentlemen, it's very exciting. William just turned himself into a rattlesnake. If you could see it, it'd be great stuff, I assure you.
I can't see it. I just see the guy in front of me is like picking his toes because he has sandals on.
There's some beasts approaching that have the strength of at least a bear and a half. Please bear with it. It's like a rain delay, you know?
Yes.
You probably, you've got Timothy's probably like, doing sliding on the tarp like a slip and slide or something to entertain people.
Timothy.
But so they come back and fly back across, King Harnaqua's side of the ocean. The crowd goes wild when it sees them approaching. And they say, William, you are the winner because you found the wand. However, since Brandon went down into the ocean, risked getting chewed up by a shark that was going to swallow you whole, we are going to grant the challenge to both Brandon and William. And the wizards had conferred and they'd hashed this out. So it says both Wizard Apprentice William and the Wizard Apprentice Brandon have won this challenge. It has been decided. Everyone in the house stood up on their feet and clapped and cheered the great wizard's decision.
Which is really like a crowd at Wrigley Field or something when there's a ground rule double or something, where you're just like, don't know what happened. I mean,
right?
Wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah, some guy was making a cup snake, so we were really watching that at this point in time.
Yes.
Yeah. No. It's Enrico Palazzo type of thing. He's just interfering with this or the Hogwarts House Cup. They used to do that all the time. Oh, but because Harry was good of heart, we've awarded them 200 bonus points.
Oh boy! What a way to rob everything of any kind of tension or drama. We just changed the rules and everybody's happy with that too.
Well, when puffs of smoke and zapping are any drama that existed went by the wayside a long time ago when you could just do that.
True. But okay, so now the second challenge, which is the most difficult of the 4 challenges.
That has just ended.
It's ended. So now the other 2 are just mop up. This is just probably a lot of people going let's just beat the traffic.
Yeah.
For sure.
And that's a chapter break right there.
Yes.
See, they have split up this Pinewood Derby on the eve of D-Day into 2 separate chapters. And I was just thinking about how, I feel like Game of Thrones did this, but if this was ever the second to last episode of a TV season and you had been building up to something, how furious people would be if they were like, oh, we're doing this. The wizards are going to fly across the ocean, kids.
You're splitting this into 2? You're already wasting my time.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It's like, Lost introducing new characters when you're like, there's 50 characters. Just tell us what's going to happen. But nope, they chapter 13 starts with them heading towards the castle of King Alexandrio in the easternmost kingdom in the land of Antigua.
And can I say about this, I laughed out loud at this, and I put this, Larry, if you're out there.
I'm all ears, Cochise.
I know the pigeon thing was you, and God bless you for it.
Look, some people call them rats with wings, but I don't. No one ever. Pigeon never bit me. I don't know.
Larry, let me give the people a taste of your genius and what I'm talking about here.
All right.
Earlier that afternoon, King Alexandrio had attached a small note to the leg of his pet pigeon. The pigeon flew back home to King Alexandrio's castle when it was released just as it had always done. One of the animal handlers who was responsible for caring for the king's pigeons removed the note from the pigeon's leg. He read the note and then ran down the stairs to notify all the knights and that 3 young wizard apprentices were coming to retrieve King Alexandrio's sword from its special stand in the royal treasury chamber, and they were not to be stopped. Now, this was all the pigeon, and the fact that he has pet pigeons and he has pet pigeon takers and caretakers who pull notes off of it was all done to explain the fact that they weren't surprised to see the 3 wizard apprentices go to the castle of King Alexandrio.
Denise had some questions, and she was wondering how they was going to steal this away, and she's just going to hand wave it. And I said, I got an idea. You just put a pigeon on there. That's how they all worked, and that's what they do in the Game Thrones.
I was out by the pool, and I had I cracked one. Yeah, what are you looking at me for? So occasionally I like to, it's noon somewhere, right? This pigeon landed, and I was like, "Hey, pigeon, 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 pigeon." And then it took a shit and it flew away. But I thought that'd be pretty fun to put in a book.
So I walked into the hotel suite and I said, "Denise, that's the answer is pigeons." And then when I woke up a couple hours later, she had typed it all up. There we go.
She said, Larry, if you're going to put another pigeon in this, I swear to God, I'm going down to
That's your answer to everything. Pigeons.
I am going to go play some video poker if you're going to do that. All right, when you get back, you'll see the pigeons do work out good. It's going to be good.
Good luck, honey. I love you. Don't write a book about me after we split up.
And when you get back, a little special gift from Larry, if you know what I'm saying.
Larry, you haven't got it up in a decade. But then we get to the castle. The pigeon thing is, takes as much time to explain that as it does to, get to the castle and do all this stuff.
Sure.
There's some actual bickering between the two, the good Wizard Apprentice and the bad Wizard Apprentice. William has retrieved the sword. The guards know to let him do this because of the pigeon note. And Jonathan pointed his magic wand at William, yells, "Kazala kaboom." Suddenly, an electric force came from Jonathan's wand and almost electrocuted William. The electric current missed William only by inches. William yelled, "Jonathan, that was the second time you tried to electrocute me this week," which is, it's objectively very funny.
Yes.
And then it says he said, "You heard what the wizard said. There is no reward for second place." I also heard the wizard say this is not a competition, but that's beside the point.
Yes.
Jonathan and William both pointed their magic wands at each other. A powerful electric force came from the wands of both young wizards, and united, the two were at an impasse. So I know what they're getting at here. It's a wand duel where they're sort of like back and forth. But it's a very funny way to describe that. The electrical force came from the wands and united. So it's like it's pushing back and forth. I don't know. Maybe I couldn't think of a better way to describe that in a sentence or two. But
don't cross the streams or something. You know, like the Ghostbusters things. I don't know.
We did a Harry Potter roast at the Comedy Club in Vermont a couple years ago, and for the final thing, a guy did this. He used like those LED tube lights, attached them to two magic wands, and there was sort of like a final climactic duel. So that is probably the level of what they're describing here in this book.
Sure.
A home DIY garage solution that took someone about 45 minutes to hack together. But then this happens. Suddenly, the Wizard Apprentice Brandon arrived into the castle. I guess he was lagging behind. He saw what was happening and decided to help. Brandon pointed his own magic wand at the Wizard Apprentice Jonathan and zapped him. Jonathan was knocked off of his feet and fell to the ground. He was confused and dazed for a few minutes.
Yes.
So Jonathan is, a few here implies that he's sort of, getting his thoughts back together, cartoon birds going around his head for at least 3 minutes, right? Because, it's not a couple minutes.
Yeah, I think the official is at least 3.
So they've baked that into this just as if, when the people in Ready Player One walked down the hall for a couple minutes. Yes. As has happened countless other times in the books we've read. There's been a needlessly specific interval of time. And we tend to sometimes like to explore what these would sound like if they, if they happened in real life. And so I went to our old friends on the dark web.
Oh, okay.
They're pretty busy now. They're trying to, they're doing all sorts of hacking over in Russia. They're trying to cut off, those things. They're, doing all that. But they did have time.
Oh, good. I was going to say, they probably don't have time then.
No. They have important stuff, but they are always willing to reenact in real time a passage from a book that only the listeners of this podcast have read. So I downloaded this, and we can see what this would sound like. Jonathan being confused and dazed. Not dazed to confused. The Ellises were very clever about that. For a few minutes, what that might sound like.
Okay. How many? You say you downloaded it. How many What was the download ticker on this thing?
It was surprisingly
did it say like
slow. I think they were using
3?
a lot of the download count. Yeah, It had a few. So we know that
the person
means
who
at least 3.
downloaded it to make sure
the
right file, and then one other person,
and then he might have refreshed it to sort of juice the count so it wouldn't look too sad. Yeah,
right. Okay,
we've all been there. Let's take a listen. I hate you, William. Eat zap. Hey, what are you doing here, Brandon? Saving my friend. Take that, Jonathan. Oh, what's happened? I can't do this. I don't know. I think I need to lay down for a minute here. Where am I? What's I doing? I'm seeing stars here. Where's I think I might be. I don't know if I suffered some internal damage, or I think I might be. I don't know. Who was that? John? Brandon's at me. Why am I wearing this cloak? Was there a talking gorilla here a few weeks ago? Thranduil, is he even boss, or is that the other guy? When I was doing fireworks, is that him? Is he in charge of me? Are the girls obsessed with me, or is that with William? Oh man, when I leave here, am I going to be flying east or west? How am I going to know? Is the sun rising in the west, or is that the east? I think that zap might have really rung my bell here. I probably ought to enter the concussion protocol. My left eye has really got some spots flying around in it. What is my name is Jonathan. I feel like there might be an evil expression coming on my face. I don't know what's the. Man, are this floor marble? Did I just say, are this floor marble? That's not grammatically correct. But I think it might be. It's a cold floor. It feels kind of good. I should lie down and maybe just take a nap. But no, you're not supposed to do that if you might have had a concussion.
Hey, Conor, I'm trying to work. How long is this going to go on?
It says a few minutes, so I think at least 3.
No more than 3.
Okay. Where am I? I'm Jonathan. I am confused. Where was it? This is really kind of embarrassing to do with you standing there.
Wrap it up.
Oh, I'm confused. Why did William zap me? I'm Jonathan.
Is that it?
Yes.
Should have married a mini-wad.
Wow.
Well, what it would sound like for a wizard or princess to be confused and dazed for a few minutes.
Sure, that was great. And, we can do anything now because no one's listening anymore. So this is
right.
This is perfect.
Time for my lizard people theories.
Who had some good ideas?
Yes.
There's a bunch of people I want to list off.
The wizard or princess Jonathan did. It goes on to say that when he came to and stood up, he ran over. So it did apply then. He was also unconscious for a while, but maybe that just means super dazed. But
yeah.
Burying the lead here, when William and Brandon fly away, what they both didn't know was that the blue dragon Vorulchar was waiting for them on top of King Alexandrio's castle.
He was waiting for them to come out of the castle.
Good. That's specified. He's not. He does know that they entered.
Well, I could have used another pigeon explanation here, but I'll just assume it. I guess.
Really, this is not. specified how they know he's there. We don't know that he was sent there. We don't know that Orin the owl with his beautiful owl eyes saw and told him to come there. He just happens to be there, perching on the side of it.
So I wonder, was he, busting a smoke and just like right. Suddenly, oh God, he's like one of those, cop movies where they're on the stakeout and then they're eating their Philly cheesesteak and then all of a sudden the perp comes out of the house and you're like, oh, son of a...
yeah, I need an APB. I think that's what's happening.
Yes.
Because he eventually he takes after them, lets out a loud scream, and then spit out a ball of fire from his nostrils. I'm not sure.
I didn't know that's where the balls of fire came from.
Sure, or that you can spit out of your nostril. That's an interesting way to describe it. But he does take off chasing them. So that might imply that he is unprepared if he's spitting out fire from his nostrils as opposed to his mouth. I guess you do both.
But so the end of this, though, maybe you have the same note, is like, look, the reason that people weren't surprised to see the wizard apprentices coming to kill King Alexandrio's castle had to be explained with a 3-paragraph thing about a pigeon, right?
Yeah.
Okay, the end of this is literally the thing that we're waiting for, is the attack of the blue dragon Vorultrar, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Here's the end of it. Once in the mountainous regions, the 2 wizards flew down into one of the canyons. They hid in a cave so that Vorultrar wouldn't be able to find them. Vorultrar flew around looking for the 2 wizards, and when he couldn't find them, he gave up and flew back north. Son of a...
I was reminded of a time that me and you flew up to San Francisco for Sketchfest, and the guy who picked us up couldn't find where he parked his car.
Yes.
So he was doing this sort of like squint looking throughout the whole garage, and we were like looking at each other being like, what is going on? Is this like a Sketchfest prank show where they're punking us as we arrive here? But so Vorultrar is just like squinting, looking in all these caves. Caves, as listener Janelle pointed out, quite a place that's usually associated with dragons having some expertise of living in them.
But he's like, I want nothing to do with what are those things? Little holes in the earth?
Yeah, it's like Mr. T getting on the plane in A-Team. He's just like, I'm not going in there. I hate caves. So yeah, just an amazing, like you said, this is the big bad of the whole thing. He happens to have a chance encounter with them and is unable to even catch 2 wizard apprentices as they fly away from him.
And he's just not good with spitting the fireballs out of his nose.
Yeah.
Like, is he not leading them enough? Like, you shoot a pigeon, you have to shoot in front of the pigeon or whatever. Speaking of pigeons, whatever you're shooting.
Sure. He does. He spits out a huge ball of fire from his mouth later, and it missed the wizards. So I don't know if they just took evasive action, or maybe his nose balls are more accurate. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, they do get back home.
Wait.
Right?
Before they get home, I just want to point out he flies back to the castle of the evil sorceress Guinevere. When he arrived at the castle, he flew on top of the castle and landed. As he landed on top of the castle, the foundation shook, and several pieces of the siding fell off the castle onto the ground.
Oh, right. Okay.
So she did have a foundation guy come out and pour a foundation, and then there was a siding crew who came and did that to their castle. That's just important details to know about the construction business here in Antigua.
So did she? I assume she then made the note like, call the foundation guy. Yep. Call the siding dude.
Oh, that's going to be expensive. My emergency fund is not where it needs to be.
And I just gotten that fiberglass siding, which they said is 40-year guarantee, but I don't know if it was a guarantee against blue dragons.
Covers dragons. No, that's probably. I gotta make up a lie. I gotta say it was a hailstorm.
Right. But so they get to the arena. And once again, the crowd is there, and the crowd is on tenterhooks.
Yes.
Just waiting, like, what is going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
The wizard apprentice William held King Alexandrio's sword up in the air as they flew by. The crowd went wild. So now I'm assuming that the crowd was watching Whiplash, the cowboy monkey riding the sheepdog.
Yep, the fifth inning entertainment.
So they're already primed, and then all of a sudden, right as he his owner is doing the sign to get back into the pen, right at that moment, it's like a flyby before the Army Navy game or something.
Yeah,
Woo! First whiplash. Now he's right. He's got the sword. And the crowd went wild. So it was timed beautifully.
Yeah, William is holding up the sword. Unbeknownst to him, Morgana, the kissing bandit, is sneaking up behind him. The Philly fanatic is going to pull Jonathan's pants down or something.
Yes.
I like this picture they painted us of the arena. King Arthur and his wife Queen Eleonora sat side by side. King Alexandrio and his wife Queen Gwyneth sat side by side. King Thomasin and his wife Queen Lindrianda sat side by side.
I thought we were going to get a little side note about there's obviously a rift in this marriage.
Right,
they're not sitting; they're sitting icily one chair apart or something.
Yeah, she was texting her tennis instructor or something. And then Jonathan, still not the sharpest evil guy, because he says, "What are you praising him for? I arrived here first." And he accuses William of cheating. So Jonathan, did not come back with the sword because William was hiding in a cave as Dragon Vorultrar walked by. So Jonathan thinks just the fact that he came back before him then makes him the winner here. So, I mean, that's enough to knock him down. Jonathan doesn't even get to make like Weeblo Wizard. He's not even going to qualify here.
Well, I guess he was going on the premise that it's not even a competition, so why should he even,
True.
why are you clapping? This isn't anything. But when he held the sword up, so they were already like at a frantic level. The Homer hankies were out; they were going bananas. Mm-hmm. But then he held the sword up. After he flew by with the sword, they started yelling, clapping, and jumping around when they saw the two wizards. Now, I don't know what kind of seating they had. Do they have those like plastic seats that fold down or whatever? You don't have a lot of room.
Traditional bleachers, yeah.
Jumping around is not easy.
Especially wearing what I imagine is the queen's formal wear. It's got to probably be those large bodice dresses, the hoop skirts type of thing.
Right. I wonder if someone fell off the upper deck. That occasionally happens.
Maud Flanders, yeah.
Yes.
Whew. And I think Jonathan takes off in a huff because he says, I'm the best wizard here. I'm a better wizard than William. In fact, I'm becoming a better wizard than even you, mighty Vlandorf. And Vlandorf is stunned at his disrespect, so I guess he's just noticed it for the first time. And then he says, kings and queens, young Jonathan just needs a little time to calm down. Again, you hate to bring it up, but I'm going to because it's hilarious. He really is a good wizard, but he is a little headstrong.
Okay.
And then King Thomasin, politely ignores the gaffe as you do so often for me when I mispronounce stuff. But he says, Wizard Vlandorf, do not fret. We understand what it is like to be young and impatient. We all have teenage daughters. The other two kings and the rest of the crowd laughed out loud. So on the eve of the invasion, the dad jokes are coming strong and sort of providing some needed levity.
I wondered if he just sort of went like, oh, no, don't laugh. Oh, God. I mean, like, it's so embarrassing. Yes, I'm the king, but I wasn't even trying to be funny there.
Right, yeah, right. Yeah, no, my teenage daughter's a huge pain in the ass. God. No, really.
This doesn't make me feel better at all, your fake laughter. Oh.
I took a shotgun to the door to greet her prom date. Like, it wasn't a joke. I'm deeply disturbed.
Yes. She has been in and out of rehab. This is not funny.
And surprising no one, Jonathan is on his way to the north to give himself over to the service of the evil sorceress Gwendevier.
Yes,
and he does that by hopping on a unicorn's back and decides to fly to the talent. I mean, just try to fly right to the sorceress's castle and offer his talents. But the unicorn is unwilling to get too close to the castle because they knew that the dragon would eat it. So it would go no further, and Jonathan had to walk the rest of the way. The unicorn ran and jumped up into the air. He returned to his own land. So that's the first real big unicorn moment we have there, and it's just an insanely. He uses it like a city bus.
Yes, he's like sadly, he's like kicking stones, pulling his hoodie up tight, and putting the drawstrings so that it covers his whole face, and then without thinking just climbs on the back of a unicorn. Yeah. Fly me wherever. I don't even care. Shut up. God.
Yeah. This is way more magical than I'm letting on. This is great. Lisa Frank was right. But as he approaches up, sullen and sulking, Gwendevier sees him coming, I think through the crystal ball powered by the magical owl Oren's beautiful eyes.
Yes, I believe so.
She thinks, what is he thinking? He must be the stupidest wizard in the entire land of Antigua. Not wrong, I would say, based on his understanding of basic competition strategy.
Yes. And I have to say, so far I've kind of enjoyed the cat humor. Mm-hmm. This is like 3 paragraphs too many.
Wearing a little thin, yeah.
The sarcastic cat, and the queen side-eyeing the cat gets very old, so I don't really have a lot for it.
Well, my only takeaway was that she threatens to zap him, and he makes a sarcastic remark about how a cat has 9 lives. Then the sorceress, the cat didn't see this coming, says, "Yeah, and I could take all 9 of those lives away from you in the blink of an eye." And it says that the cat trembles and says the cat knew the sorceress was capable of taking all 9 of her lives away. So the 9 lives are not just an expression here in Antigua. They are, a canonical thing that cats know they have.
Yes, right. Along with king-size beds, these are things that belong in the kingdom.
Yes, exactly.
Actual 9 lives of cats.
And he says, there's no need for that, Queen. I was just giving you a little cat trivia. So that was just an expression that I appreciated appearing in the final quarter of this fantasy novel. Yes. Then she summons for the head goblin Gozarf. I was stunned that we get more Gozarf, and it's not the last appearance of Gozarf. She brings him in. She berates him. She says, show this wizard into my quarters because I might be able to use him to defeat these 3 kings and their armies of good.
Yes. Before that, though, we get this is very Ellis again. Jonathan walking into the castle.
Oh yeah.
This place is so dark. Don't these creatures believe in lit torches? A little further into the castle, there were lit torches floating up in the air. In fact, throughout the rest of the castle, hundreds of lit torches flew everywhere. Jonathan said sarcastically, "That's better. We finally have some light. I thought I was going to have to walk in darkness forever." Why did you just waste the paragraphs on this?
It's incredible.
For 1 minute, there wasn't a torch, and he's like, "What the hell is going on with this place?" And I'm like, "Oh, there's a ton of them."
Phew. I wish he had just made a comparison. Like, don't they believe in lit torches? What is this? The forest of the island of Blackwoodsbury? I don't see a single lit torch. Oh, there they are. Never mind.
I have a sonic challenge for you. Mm-hmm. You're already in the mind of the wizard apprentice Jonathan, I assume.
Yeah, of course,
and his dislike of dark corridors.
I'm just picturing Anakin Skywalker with the high ground, scowling.
Yes. Hates sand. Okay, the wizard apprentice Jonathan. Wait. This is. I got ahead of myself. Okay. No, wait. I got it. It is in the right place. Sorry. Ignore all that. Just hit fast forward.
They're not listening anymore. They stopped.
That's right. They're stopped long ago. Jonathan backed up into a corner and yelled, Get away from me, you stupid, ugly cat." Those all have exclamation points.
Okay.
But they're hard stops on the 2 gets.
Okay. Well, I'm going to interpret this a little differently just based on how I would do that.
Yeah. You're the actor. It's your instrument. So do whatever you want with it.
Get away from me, you stupid, ugly cat! Gits. I thought they were gits.
Yeah, I was picturing you as a sidekick in a Western.
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
That was good. Yeah.
And then the cat, after that response, says, "Who is he calling stupid and ugly? Has he looked in a mirror and seen his own face lately?"
Oh, sarcastic cat.
And that brings us to a line that, I assume some people who listen to this are familiar with our works at Riff Tracks, and many people are probably confused and annoyed by the references we make. The wizard apprentice Jonathan said to himself sarcastically, "A talking cat is all I need right about now." And it ends in an exclamation mark. It could use another one and then a question mark, I think. But
yes, indeed.
The reference to a talking cat, voiced by Eric Roberts, delighted me to no end.
Eric Roberts could be Larry Ellis in the biopic.
That's true. The slurring would be right on point. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know. Can we divert $65 from the Patreon next month to see if he's available?
Yes.
Is he on Cameo?
So Gozarf.
Yeah, the head goblin.
The head goblin brings Jonathan to the kitchen to eat. Okay. What do you think they eat in this kitchen?
Oh, I mean, it's,
this is
rat poo. Yeah, that's goblins like it.
Fish,
slime.
Fish skeletons.
Yeah.
Well, fruit bread and jam. And cow's milk to drink.
They keep it nicely stocked in the off chance that any of her relatives make one of their seldom visits.
Gorzarf. Yes, my lord. Make him some chamomile tea with a little bit of half and half. And some xylitol, because we don't like sugar around here. We're watching ourselves.
I know all this. I've gone a bit of a diet myself. Thank you, Queen. It's great to have a nicely stocked kitchen. I consider it a big perk of the job. I know money's tight, so it's hard to give us raises, but these perks, they do add up.
My filthy queen, where is our tea cozy? It is over there on the sideboard, you fool. I zap you now. Ah, my third scrotum. Ah. Yes.
Is that from the since the goblins are half bats? Is that something that came along with them from that? Or
no, that could.
Okay.
I don't know. I'll look in the Bible of Antigua. We have to write that. Yeah.
Well, the cow's milk too is just another delightful thing. If at the end they all sat down at a feast and they toast each other with goat milk for the first time, I mean, there's the book has no end of delights, but that might, I might call my librarian. It's just they start carrying it or teaching it in schools or something if that happened.
And as they raise the goat milk, the crowd jumps up and down in excitement. It's just like, goat milk! Belting
out laughter.
Yes.
Well, they have the more exchanges with the cat. We learned that Guinevere is always holding on to a pet cobra. I think I went back and looked at that. It was mentioned that she had a pet cobra. Did not mention that she always is holding on to it. So that's important to know. And it says that he didn't really trust the sorceress or her kindness. After all, this was the same woman who was threatening to go to battle against all the inhabitants of the land of Antigua. So, I mean, I guess maybe he does have just a spark of intellect left there if he's drawing that connection out.
Right. He's like the... we reference him a lot, the late, great Norm Macdonald. Yeah, I've been reading a lot about this Hitler guy lately, The more I read about him, the less I like him.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening to Jonathan here. Like, wait a minute. This character, she was going to destroy my whole kingdom. I'm not completely on board yet.
And the way he realizes it is because she says, do you realize I am about to go to battle against the inhabitants of your very own land, and I plan to destroy them all? Just hearing the words right out of the sorceress's own mouth made the realization that his friends and countrymen were going to die that more real to him. So, it's just, very slowly coming around to these realizations.
And she says this before she does anything. She says she can't wait to trick him. Mm-hmm. And it says, tricking the young wizard was amusing her. She found the whole thing very entertaining. This is like before it happened. So,
right.
I mean, I hope it goes well. I assume it will go well. Yeah. I am enjoying the hell out of even thinking about it.
I'm getting ahead of myself with this amusement, all of this, but it is so amusing.
He could be smart. No, this guy's a Brandon. What am I saying?
He does beg her not to hurt them. He realizes he's made a huge mistake. And this is very... I feel standard, isn't this, Edmund in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, that sort of archetype of he
this
betrays.
100% that, yes.
It immediately goes off the rails. He says, I want to take it back. It's too late for that.
Yes.
But he says, don't hurt them. She starts laughing at him. The cat starts laughing at him. The cat rolls around on the floor laughing at him. And then we get this. The sorceress got up from her throne and walked slowly over to Jonathan. She bent down and slapped Jonathan across the face. She grabbed his shirt tightly, so it's like a by-the-collar type of thing. The evil sorceress Guinevere yelled out, "Young wizard, not only am I going to hurt them, I'm going to destroy them. And yes, coming here was a big mistake." She slapped Jonathan again and then pushed him down to the cold floor. So we got to count the child slapping here, because I feel like that's at least the 7th time something like that has happened.
I really did love the grabbing his lapels kind of thing.
Yeah.
It reminded me there was an old comic bit where someone just assembled all in the old detective stories. They used to say he helped himself to a handful each of his lapels. She helped herself to his.
Yeah.
And slapping him upside down. Look at you, huh, you mug?
Yeah, it is a very interrogation thing, being like, I don't know nothing. Okay, I know a little bit. I seen him. Like,
you'll get nothing out of me, witch. Oh, yeah? You think you're a tough guy, eh? My cat is pretty sarcastic.
So he tells him to, I'm going to destroy your friends. And I think he probably had a good 20, 30 minutes of eating jam and cow's milk before the evil sorceress tells Gozarf to go lock him in the dungeon.
Yeah.
Presumably next to the nasty fox.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, nasty fox.
We get this. He gets locked in the dungeon, and Sorceress Gwyndevere sat back down on her throne. The sorceress smiled wickedly, for she was well pleased with the events of the day. Everything was going just as she wanted to. The sorceress felt within her evil spirit that the land of Antigua was soon to be hers.
She was especially looking forward to destroying the princesses and the child from the other side of the waters of Antigua. So, she had a pretty nice little day planned,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I got to go to the mall. I got to get some stuff. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
She's prioritized her list like a kid with making their Christmas list or something. Yes. And this is what I want to do most, is destroy the princesses and the child from the other side of the waters of Antigua. Who, by the way, could conceivably be called the main character here. Hasn't been mentioned this entire episode.
That's true. Then we cut back, right?
Yep. To the arena, I guess, where they have completely abandoned the lifting a heavy object challenge.
Oh, that's right. We don't get a description of it.
We don't even know what it was going to be. Was it going to be a boulder or an anvil that one of the royal welders used? I don't know.
Maybe they had to make a rock so big that they couldn't lift it. Huh?
Yeah, that was just they couldn't decide. Larry and Denise argued about it for a long time. They just decided to cut it out. But I guess once Jonathan left, maybe there was just no way to for anyone else to win the contest beside William. So it was decreed his victory.
I think maybe one of them wisely said, There's no way you can follow that sarcastic cat thing. Just give it up. Yeah, but we haven't gotten to the fourth challenge. It doesn't matter. People forgot. The cat's so good.
The heavy object is just going to be a really big pigeon.
Right. Maybe it's they put a 12-pack. Who cares?
And they do say that I think that the queen, the evil sorceress, said in 3 days we're going to battle, and now the king says it's time we go to battle now, immediately. We have no more time to waste, which I resent that entire sentence. But the princesses and the knights all raise their swords up and say, "To the land of Antigua, to the land of fairies, wizards, and heroes," as if they're dedicating a book or something. And
that took me a little by. I had to reread that. Wait, are you saying? I thought it was charge, onward to the land of Antigua.
Right, exactly. But that's where they are.
Wait, you are there.
Yeah, you're
but
fighting.
It took me a second to go. Wait, so this is here's looking at you, kid. This is a toast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, everyone else, entire crowd of people, centaurs, mini-wads, fairies, gnomes, and pixies cheered and yelled out, "To the land of Antigua."
Okay.
And then the lion Thorn, who was standing at the side of King Thomason, roared so loudly that all the inhabitants of the land of Antigua heard him. So it's like Krakatoa exploding. They hear it hundreds of miles away in the other parts of Antigua, presumably the north. And that's got to be, rupture some eardrums in the immediate vicinity. Some mini-wads are deaf now, because if that lion roared that loudly, everyone around him is just, suffering greatly, I would imagine.
Well, what you don't know is that mini-wads have an adaptation where their ears actually plug themselves above 67 decibels.
Got it.
Yeah,
it's an evolutionary maneuver on par with the third scrotum of the Gozarf, I guess.
Right. The rest of them have to shove a pigeon in each ear.
Wow, this is
get
all
ready for it.
Subtext, I guess. I got to read deeper next time.
Yes, and also the lion roaring, that is straight from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Right. Yeah.
That's Aslan's signature move. So
amazing.
So they head forth and they set up a camp. You might have something before this, but I just want to give you some pure, undistilled Ellis once again.
Thank you.
The knights set fires all around the campsite to keep warm. That was 2 words, I believe. Campsite's
okay,
one, but that's not quick.
Sure,
it was cold in the northernmost province, and they were trying to keep everyone warm. The knights made tea, and everyone drank a cup to keep warm. That is 3 straight sentences ending identically.
That is where I said it. Just the layers of insanity. We can't lose sight of minor stuff like that, where they just sort of choose your own adventure here with just which way you're going to describe that it was cold, and they decided to keep warm.
Also, again, that beautiful thing. The knights are making little things of tea to keep warm. Let's have some grog here. I've brewed some up. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. I'm having a cup of tea.
We were just joking about this stuff. 5 minutes ago that this is something we were implying on the story.
Yes.
So what they're doing now is they have to go to the... I'm not even going to say it right. The land of the head centaur of the unicorns. I think that's correct.
I believe that's right, yeah.
And they need to do that so they can retrieve the special arrows that the prophecy foretold the 3 princesses and the woman from across the waters, Wales, London, who knows, will all fire at the blue dragon Vorultrar at the same time to destroy it.
Yes.
And so I think they have a little message for the haters here. They get ahead of the sort of like Tolkienian, like, well, why didn't the eagles just drop it off into the volcano? Because William says, my lord, why can't we just fly on magic wands to retrieve the special arrows? Brandon and I could have us all there in no time. And I imagine the king is like, no time? We just sat in the goddamn stadium for 5 hours watching you retrieve the... But he said, King Arthur actually says, no, it would be too easy for the evil sorceress Gwendevier to find you. So that's how they hand wave that away. I don't even think Tolkien bothered to do that. I think the fans realized that was a plot hole later. So the Ellises, a tally in their column. Ellis is 1, Tolkien 0.
Well, except for
okay,
big asterisk here. The spoiler: the queen immediately sees them going to retrieve.
Yeah,
and so it's all a waste that they go there on foot.
Right.
And now keep this in mind. So they send this is the first of many teens. The king calls them teens.
Yes, this is an amazing development here.
So that's good.
Start calling them, just teens becomes a word that I don't think featured in here before, but is now how the Lord of the Realm addresses all these people.
But we'll have a lot of this, but this is, again, I don't play war games or anything, but they head out into a camp. They set up camp, thousands, I'm assuming, everyone from the fair. So you've got, just mini-wads and centaurs.
Yeah, it's a little city here.
Yeah, you've got, it's a huge camp, assume in a plain somewhere with lots of trees in the plain, whatever. And then they say, oh, by the way, now might be a good time to go get the 4 arrows that we 100% need because the prophecy, blah, blah, blah.
It's the only way, yeah.
So, is the king going, oh, shit, I should have done that like 3 weeks ago. But
right, yeah. Fireworks show kind of distracted us.
Oh, so how am I going to put a nice face on this thing? I'll get the teens to do it, and then I'll claim that was part of the prophecy. The prophecy's bendable, right? I can look in my black hat and say whatever the hell the prophecy is.
Right, yeah. A pigeon just delivered a new page of the prophecy. Oh, how about that? Huh?
Yes.
In a language only I can read. It's on a golden tablet.
So the entire 4 kingdoms set up camp, and then they just send these teens off, and they go like, good luck, we'll be hanging out here.
Yeah, you can't fly because we know the woman could see you, even though she didn't see the other wizard until he was literally on her doorstep. But you teens must accomplish this on your own to fulfill the prophecy.
And then I assume it's like 3 weeks into their journey, and they're all sitting around like, we've gone through our food sources. We've hunted all these stags in the immediate area. The crowd is getting restless. What, king? How's it going? Like, the teens are beyond my sight now. We have only a fool's chance that they'll make it. Like, they have no idea that they're going to come back, right? They tell them, like, this is is a nightmare. Hopefully you'll make it.
It's fraught with peril. They warn them of the severe danger of the bangies.
The bangies.
Yeah, bangies.
I refuse to call them bangies, which I assume is what they want you to do.
Sure, got it.
But it is spelled bangies. Looks a lot like the Bee Gees, yes.
Yes, right. Yeah, and they annoy and distract them maybe by singing high falsetto notes.
Nobody wants too much bangies no more.
So yeah, they are seemingly the teens' biggest obstacle here, other than the fact that they can't ride horses because the queen of the centaurs does not allow horses to mingle with her unicorns, which is a weird, interesting thing that gets mentioned more than once, and I just my mind immediately goes to sex thing. Just in like the centaurs get riled up, the half horse part, maybe the human part. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe the humans are super into it.
But so while they're sending these teens off, we get this the knights I think go like, oh, so I assume we're going to go with them. We have the 7, then we have the 50 and the 80, whatever.
Yep.
And then the king says, no, these 6 young people must travel alone. The prophecy dictates it. Does it?
Right.
The prophecy, it gets mentioned and then always there's some new detail. Can we just read that out for everyone?
Yeah, it's like
is the prophecy a book? Is it, is it an end user license agreement that we have to scroll through?
Yeah, I don't recall who delivered the prophecy in the first game, but he's probably Grima worm-tonguing it into his ear. Oh, the prophecy also says we get a honey-baked ham for every holiday, sir.
And the prophecy says you can have a stripper visit.
Yeah.
Who does it? Well. Certainly wouldn't want to disappoint.
But he says the prophecy dictates it. We must obey the prophecy. You shall stay here, Timothy. Timothy bowed his head and said, yes, my lord. And just part of me really thinks that's probably what Timothy wanted. Timothy was doing the, hey, I don't try to hold me back. I must go escort these people. That's what I have to do. No, Timothy, you stay here. Oh, thank God.
Oh, God.
I don't even have a special stick. I was going to be dead meat as soon as one of those bangies tried to annoy me.
I assume I come back at the end of the prophecy as some sort of hero. Hang on, let me hit Command Y on that. Nope, no. Timothy gets 0 returns.
14 mentions of strippers and 0 of Timothy. So unless you are a stripper, that probably is not going to be something we see later, Timothy.
Oh. So the teens are headed out, those meddling teens.
And let's just not ignore the fact that the only other book the Ellison wrote was called The Teen Archaeologist. So this is a weird fixation here, I feel like. I feel like they probably just were like, how do you get teenagers to read your book, that lucrative market? I guess just constantly refer to teenagers in your book.
Yes. But on the way there, so they're on this mission to fulfill a prophecy and all of that. And, back home, her brother's being savagely beaten by the head of the orphanage or whatever.
Right. What was his name? Brian? Was it?
Timmy? I don't know.
Yeah.
Charlie E? I don't know. Rebecca asked curiously, what is the dragon Voltrar like? What are they going to say? Like, I don't know. He's hard to get to know, but once you do, you realize he's just guarded because he had a tough childhood. But, but he's decent. I mean, all things said, he's decent, but you do have to get to know him. He is pretty. He's a dragon. He spits fire from his nostrils.
Not a fan of caves, surprisingly.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so. She did wait till they were on that final mission to sort of address their ultimate foe. But then Wizard of Princess William describes him. He says, Vorultrar is huge. He is the biggest dragon I've ever seen. He is blue, has long, sharp claws, and has long horns coming straight out of his back. Alexandra said, bangies? I hate bangies. They are so annoying.
Wait, what?
Focus here, Alexandra. This is... I mean... The one thing we're trying to do here, and you're distracted by these things that they eventually do encounter, and they're 20-inch high pests that sort of prick you with tiny swords.
Help me out here. Shadow Moon? Didn't we have the same discussion because there were little creatures that stabbed you with 2-inch blades?
Brownies, wasn't it?
Brownies, right? And we're like, That's dangerous.
Right, yeah.
2-inch blades? Like razors?
Exactly.
I mean, you're blind immediately, obviously, but also you're bleeding out. Like, that is nasty. Yeah. Can you imagine stabbing a 2-inch like thorn into your foot? Would be like, I'm done for the day.
They would do it. Yeah, that might require surgery. But they do hand wave it. They say the swords can't kill you, but they can annoy the heck out of you.
It is annoying when I get stabbed with a 2-inch razor.
Yeah, a wound that requires stitches is really annoying.
Yes.
Also annoying, this is an amazing decision that Guinevere makes. She sees the teenagers are nearing her kingdom, and we're headed to the head center of the unicorns. She decided to make...
So forget the whole thing about flying on your wands is impossible because the queen will see you. So forget that.
She is aware. She just has an intuition or something.
Yes.
She decided to make their way difficult. As the teens traveled through the central plains, suddenly Rebecca saw something coming straight toward them from the sky. She asked, William, what is that? What is that coming towards us from the sky? William said, I don't know, but whatever it is, I don't like it. Let's go. The teens rode their horses as fast as they could towards the mountainous regions of the north. Suddenly, a swarm of locusts flew over and then all around them. So Guinevere has sent a swarm of locusts to take them out. I believe and I hope that's going to be the only mention of locusts in the entire book. But just getting biblical plagues as one of the strategies is quite a strategy.
Yeah, I didn't count them, but I assume there's not 10, right? Darkness doesn't fill the land or anything like that? Okay.
I think darkness had filled the sky at some point in time, but...
there are thunder clouds. Yes, thunder and lightning.
And then, so that fortunately is dealt with by William saying, don't stop, keep going. Suddenly the locust just disappeared as quickly as it had appeared. So, I mean, I guess locusts are sort of like bangies. They're annoying, but they aren't really going to hurt you.
Right.
They devour your crops, right?
Yeah, yes, they eat up everything in sight. This will be my last pure undistilled Ellis.
Okay.
But this is a pretty good one. So after the locust, next, the sorceress sent several flying ghosts with swords to attack the teenagers from the air.
Okay.
The attacking ghosts were rebel warriors that had once fought against the 3 kingdoms belonging to King Arthur, King Thomasin, and King Alexandrio.
Okay.
The rebel warriors had refused to bow down to any king when they were alive. The fighting rebels with swords that the evil sorceress Guinevere had sent after the teenagers were all dead. They were ghosts. Even for the Ellises, that is a bit much. That is a bit rich.
That is just make your paragraph circular. End it. It could start and end at any point of that paragraph, and it would be just as make as much sense.
And obviously, the exclamation points for most of the sentences were implied, but they were absent on a few. But then at the end, they were ghosts, of course. Had an exclamation point.
Yeah, so we had witch ghosts to start with, and then ghosts of rebels to end with. So who's to say if the rebels were on board with her as they were rebelling, or if they just, once they were ghosts, they then naturally went to the evil side of the town type of thing, if that's like the hell in this realm?
I guess, yeah. Where she sent them, so...
Right, they do obey
they're at her command, yeah.
Yeah. And nothing that the princesses and Rebecca did seem to stop the ghost fighters. They just kept coming after the teens and attacking them. They pulled out their special sticks, their special bows, whatever.
Oh, wait, excuse me.
Sorry.
Special sword, special stick. Alexandra and Rebecca pulled out their bows and arrows.
Oh, right. So
you're not special bows and arrows.
Off the shelf at Walmart, yeah.
Yes.
But nothing's working, and so I thought this was it. I thought this is where the journey was going to end. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Enough of this. Let's do this, Brandon. The wizard apprentice Brandon yelled, I'm ready, William. The 2 wizard apprentices pointed their magic wands at the ghosts that were flying all around them. Suddenly, electrical current shot forth out of both the wands and zapped each and every one of the ghost fighters. The ghost fighters all let out loud screams and then disappeared just as quickly as they had appeared. And
will you just lead with that every
make it
time?
Plan A. It's so effective.
Oh, wow. Sasha just got killed. Holy cow. I can see inside her skull. This is not working. Oh, let's use our...
Magic wand.
Use our zap.
Bring her back to life. Good call.
That worked. Yeah, we should have done that. Yep.
Yeah. This would be a like a day 1 patch if it was a video game, being like the wands are too powerful. We've got to nerf them, make them, otherwise there's no one's going to use all the other weapons we came up with.
And then weird timing for this. The wizard apprentice William said, "Come on, guys, let's get going." Princess Sasha asked sarcastically, "William, what did you just call us? Did you call us guys?" William, "In case you haven't noticed, we're girls." William said, "Very funny, Sasha. Let's get going, guys." The teens all laugh. So... Again, it's like the king making his teenager jokes. Like, no, that wasn't meant to be funny. I'm sorry. I'm seriously.
Yeah.
Yes.
That stood out like that seemed like a very 2022 kind of thing to be in this 2007 book.
Yeah, but that was after a ghost attack. So.
Right. More creatures come to attack them, and as you teased earlier,
snow creatures
come. I think the other ones were the Blackwoods berry beasts.
Yes.
That were the strength of two bears.
Yes.
And here are several snow creatures jumped out from behind some snow-covered boulders and screamed at the teenagers. They looked like giant white bears with claws as sharp as razors. They had red eyes, and their faces were deformed. So that's interesting. I'm not sure what to take away from there. But giant white bears, is there another way to describe them? Is there a specific species of bears that are typically white?
Nothing's coming to mind here. Lost? Do you have anything? No? Okay.
And they were extremely strong, but it does not quantify it using any given unit of strength.
No barometric?
No, it's very unfortunate.
Also, they screamed at the teenagers. What kind? There's a lot of screams out there, Ellis's. Was it piercing at all?
Oh, wow. Good question.
All right.
But, maybe the deformed faces, like they could have a speech impediment because of that. So they opted not to humiliate them and focus on that.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that was nice. That was Larry.
Larry's cool.
Yeah.
This one, I'm done with you, Ellis. It looked like a small jungle. You could hear crickets and beetles chirping throughout the entire forest. There was beautiful green grass, tall trees, and vines growing everywhere. I'm done, Ellis. I mean, it's funny, but... Looked like a small jungle. When you think jungle, crickets and beetles chirping. And beautiful green grass. That's what I think of jungles.
Yes, vines everywhere. So, they're just underfoot. Are they mostly hanging from the trees like Tarzan swung on? So that's good though. That's you highlighted that, and then later on you hear this sentence: the forest was unusually quiet. And so, what do you think you probably don't hear? They didn't hear any monkeys, crickets, or beetles. So that's when you walk into a forest. Those are the three standouts you usually expect to be. The beetles like click. Is that what they do? Like that's the main noise you associate with beetle. Maybe a whir as they fly.
The buzz of a beetle, the drone. I mean, of a beetle, but I've never heard of the chirping of a beetle.
I liked this description. They could finally see the castle of the head center of the unicorns in the distance. It was beautiful. It looked like a castle in a children's fairy tale. So, yeah, they've reached the stage where it's like, why even try harder than this? Like, we have spent so many words unnecessarily in this book that, just like, the Disney logo? Like that.
Yes. But the Bangies do attack them. Yeah. They are as advertised.
It would have been great if they hadn't. We can all acknowledge that.
Yes. They just annoy them as promised. They are nothing new comes out of it. No challenge. And so they move through this tiny forest that sits in front of the most beautiful castle in the kingdom of Antigua, the land of etc.
Yeah.
And then this sentence. They stopped at the edge of the forest and threw their tiny swords at the teens. The tiny swords went nowhere. After their tiny swords went nowhere, the banshees stood at the edge of the forest and started screaming at the teens. What in the world is going on?
Well, they're not allowed to enter the province of the unicorns, and the Bangies respect that.
Their swords went nowhere? After their tiny swords went nowhere? Is that a sentence that humans use?
Back-to-back sentence, yes. I mean, I guess a force field is implied at some point of thing? Like a...
I don't know. That went nowhere is kind of implies just like, well, that went nowhere. Like their swords went nowhere after that went nowhere. I don't.
It's like punching in a dream where you sort of throw it, but it's unable to. It's like underwater. It doesn't move like that.
I guess. I don't know. But then they stood at the edge of the forest and started screaming at the team.
Yeah, I imagine fish shaking is involved like that. Yes. It says they were furious they couldn't leave their forest, enter the province of the unicorns, and destroy the teens.
Yes. And it was a small forest, and they actually say there's no way we can go around it. Like, isn't there? I mean... Yeah. It does seem like it took you about 3 minutes to go through this forest. Seems like there's got to be a way around it.
Yeah, I mean, they probably saw the beginning of the forest, just like the one on the island, and now they could probably... I could see the end of the forest from here.
Yeah, it's like a small cornfield, right? Like you can let's just walk around it.
The poppy field in Wizard of Oz that they can run through it. But
I don't want to get stabbed in the foot with 2-inch razors.
There was one other sentence, just so people don't think we're over accentuating the weird teen things. There was this was 3 sentences. The teens ran as fast as they could and climbed through the mountains to get away from the snow creatures. The sorceress's giant creatures came right after the teens. They lived in the snowy mountains, so it wasn't easy for the teens to escape from them. It's so weird. It's so weird. But there you have it. I don't know if it's going to persist because the teens do fulfill their purpose by the end of this section. I'll get ahead of that. But before we move on, we have to do some fanfic because I think we're nearing the end of this.
Yes.
Let's do that. Let's abandon the Bangies. They're shaking their fists. They're furious at the teens. But it's time for our final Antigua real or fanfic.
All right. Bangies be dang. Extra special fun for this one?
Something special. Yeah, fun. We'll see about that. But we have done a lot of fanfic for this. This has been the most fanfic episode, obviously. We did 2 bonus ones on Patreon, and you knocked them out of the park. But then we were curious about how this was going to end. Someone even wrote in saying, like, I don't want this to be spoiled, the final reel or fanfic, and I'm wary of that, too. Someone sent in the last paragraph of the book.
Oh.
So I was reading this trying to think if this was going to fool you, and I had the ending of the book ruined for me. So I'm furious. I'm like a Bangi shaking my fist at the end of the realm of the land of the unicorns. Don't do that. I mean, we've got sort of a social compact here that we're not going to just send in gigantic spoilers.
Yeah.
And someone chose to violate it. So in protest of that,
yes,
I'm doing a lightning round here.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to read you one sentence from each of these real or fanfics,
okay,
and you're going to have to tell if it was real or not. People sent in good ones. Our Patreon supporters, our beloved Patreon jackals, did this, but you're getting one sentence, and you have to decide whether it's real or fanfic from here.
Oh, that went nowhere. Okay. I'm ready.
All right. So again, patreon.com/372 pages. You can hear those bonus or fanfics. They're very exciting. You can hear Mike's classical MIDI from last week.
Yes.
The classical MIDIs are a beloved sub-podcast here.
Sure, if you say so.
And you can get every episode early, and you can help support a podcast that has just brought you so many hours of joy and mini-wads and teens. So
many teens.
But anyway, here is sentence 1. The Black Panther's neck was snapped, but Gordle Gorilla was covered in blood.
Love it, fanfic.
It is fanfic. That was written by Harris.
Okay.
Number 2. Lady Alamage and her friends were all playing foot polo.
I'm going to say real only because it would be too insane to invent another character. So real.
It's real. That is real. God. I believe it was submitted by Elizabeth. I forgot to note that. Alamage has an accent over the second A. And
okay, the second A.
I guess foot polo was not the big spoiler. If that was the last sentence of the book, I would have ruined it. But we'll find out what that means.
Yep, foot polo.
Number 3. The green dragon, Marltrar, gasped out a smoky breath and died.
Fanfic.
That's fanfic, written by Jeff.
Okay, that was good.
The elf Nevens yelled, "Another job well done, Ragnow. Shall we celebrate with a round of blueberry juice?"
Come on, they drink tea here. I'm going to say that's fanfic.
It's fanfic written by Craig.
All right.
The women in the land of Antigua, this is 5. The women in the land of Antigua wore hoop skirts underneath their skirts to hold them away from their bodies.
What? I mean, I guess top hats?
Yep.
I don't know. Real?
That's real. Written by Craig. Submitted by Craig.
Submitted by Craig.
Wow, was that a 5 for 5 just there?
It was.
Wow.
Ripping them off.
Maybe the sentences makes it an easier task. The unnecessary details are where it starts to get confusing.
Yes.
Of course, it's the end of the book, so you've had a long time to train your neural network on these.
That is true.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody who submitted those. And I'm glad Mike will get to experience the book as it was meant to be. So,
well, as always, we're hoping for it is the cliche is called bleary-honored.
Yes,
we're hoping that the brother
Billy, I think is his name.
Billy,
so,
yes,
yeah. Will Billy get bleary-honored?
We have a Billy, and of course, a William is a big character. So that's always good when they just have it.
True. And maybe that's the twist. I don't know.
And 2 Charlie E's, right?
2 Charlie E's, Mini Wad and Octopus.
Okay.
Maybe she, I don't want to get ahead of it, but yeah, maybe Billy is revealed to have had his name changed on his birth certificate when they entered the orphanage from Charlie E or something.
Yeah. So the last reading is going to be for you, just like a slog. Like, okay, I have to pay attention to this, but I already know where it's going. So.
Well, I sort of do. And I also sort of know that we're getting Lady Alamage in foot polo, so I'm very excited about that.
Okay, good.
Because that's to me, it's impossible to read that and not just think of something dirty. I've been corrupted, so
sure.
We'll see what happens.
Okay, now, so yes,
we're at the kingdom of the head centaur.
The head centaur of the unicorns. Yes, and she right is the most beautiful creature ever. They're all just incredibly beautiful.
Yeah, but beauty gets a run for its money here. The word is devalued.
It's true. But they, again, where's the security here? They walked right up to the queen and bowed down before her. Now, I don't know you from Lee Harvey Oswald, frankly.
Sure, yeah.
What? Security? I mean, I guess you're no talking gorilla. What the hell are you doing bowing before me?
True. But as the
someone pepper spray these 4, please?
Right, yeah. Were my centaurs distracted by a horse somewhere in this vicinity? But yeah, as the keeper of the magical arrows, she might have known someday they would be coming. So that's what I can think about.
But she stood with her back to them, which I thought was a bold power move. Pretty good.
It's also a bold power move because it says they walked right up to the queen and bowed down before her. The head centaur of the unicorns was a beautiful centaur. She had the face of an angel. Rebecca stared at the head centaur of the unicorns in awe. She had never in her entire life seen such a beautiful creature. Rebecca wanted to see the queen's face, but she couldn't. The head centaur of the unicorns had her back to the teens. So yet again, a roundabout sentence. We'll just be told she had the face of an angel and believe it. And I like this. Rebecca couldn't believe she was seeing all of this. She felt special and very grateful to have come to the land of Antigua. You know who would love this? Billy. How is he doing? Is he being
who's that now?
For, like trying to put some salt in his gruel or something? I just am curious.
Could I have half a biscuit today? Shut up, Billy.
Damn it, Billy. Yeah, you'll take your sister's beatings while she's in the Thames.
Clean up your poop bucket again. Okay. So this is just like reflective of, I think, once again, there's 3 buckets they pull from, and one is...
3 buckets, eh?
Sorry.
Just checking.
It was on my mind.
Yeah.
It's
on all of our minds.
Yes. And so it's either, C.S. Lewis or it's Tolkien or Harry Potter. I mean, right?
Definitely. I mean, this is we had 2 chapters of Harry Potter preceding this.
So I think this is going back to Chronicles of Narnia, and they sit and they're just like in awe of this beautiful creature. Maybe there's a little Tolkien in there with the elves, like, oh, just this light emitting from the beauty. And then she says, I know that you have come for the arrows, and go fetch them, other beautiful unicorn. And so here's what we get. At that moment, a beautiful unicorn came into the room. He had a gold box in his mouth. He walked right up to the head centaur of the unicorns, and she reached up and grabbed the gold box. Now, come on. It's hard to be beautiful when you're carrying a sizable gold box in your mouth filled with 4 arrows.
Yeah.
Like, normally, I'm a pretty good looking unicorn.
Right.
But oh God, is it dripping? It's dripping, isn't it? Oh God.
Yeah, it's rarely that's how they're depicted on the teen girls posters and stuff.
Yes, and the yellow teeth with like there's some alfalfa and all the the gums are like stuffed, they're receding. Yes. No, trust me, I'm beautiful.
And yeah, she grabs the gold box and there's the unicorn saliva all over it.
Yes. And she's a centaur. They're just full out unicorns. Right?
The head centaur of the unicorns, yeah. And
okay.
Absolutely no idea how this comes to pass. Is this a tradition of the unicorns? Are they subjugated by her? We don't understand why the unicorns would not be ruled by one of their own.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. She could be like Saddam Hussein, where they're trembling in terror.
Yes,
like
exactly.
She moves their families around to different cities and kills, at least once a month.
Yeah, right.
Kills the mother and then the father the next month or whatever.
Yeah, that's what follows gold box duty. So this unicorn is weeping as its final moments on the earth.
Okay.
But they sort of talk about how they survived the pesky Bangies. She gets 3 white and 3 light blue unicorns to come and carry them back to the kings. The teenagers thank the female head centaur of the unicorns, which I thought was, I think the first time, I guess they referred to her as her, but it's weird that they called her the female head centaur of the unicorns. And she says, go fulfill your destiny, and they leave. So it was a whole lot of build-up for that journey to sort of show up, take a slobbery box from a unicorn, and leave.
Yes, and she knew that they were coming, so it was it could have just been like at the door, like at the edge of their kingdom or whatever. Just like, hey, we know you're headed up here for the arrows.
Yeah, right.
Just take it here.
Well, if they had met them there, the Bangies, threat would have been not negated, so.
Yeah, well. So they fly back, which I guess also negates the point of they went there on foot, right?
Yeah, they are not worried about Gwendevi seeing them flying on the unicorns, I guess.
Okay, so that threat.
And unicorns can fly? Is that a universal thing?
No.
Okay, just check.
When the centaur horns men.
Yeah, they were. That was always very jarring to read.
Saw the unicorns flying through the air toward the camp with the 6 teenagers on their backs. They blew their horns loudly. Okay, so the camp. They're headed back towards the camp, so they go, yay, they're headed back towards the camp. Mm-hmm. But the camp, so was the camp in the same location? And how long did this mission take? And did the army want to keep advancing?
True. Yeah.
What was the point of starting out if they just had to set up camp and then wait a few weeks? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, right.
What is happening?
Yeah, they needed to get this thing so they could kill the dragon, but the army was sort of moving towards the dragon, I guess anticipating they would one day obtain it.
So when they head back to the camp, do they go like, oh my God, what a foolish thing we've done? Of course they're not here. We've been gone for 6 weeks. They are like at the foot of the northern mountains or whatever, and now we have to go find them, I guess.
Yeah, they had to keep moving because they ran out of food. Yeah, you assume that the magical unicorns, some of them white, some of them light blue, are able to, I guess, discern this location.
Okay, all right, that answers that.
Maybe since these are centaur horsemen, maybe the head centaur of the unicorns has some sort of mystical centaur bond with them and can triangulate their location.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
They are planning to defeat the evil blue dragon Voltrar with this, but there's still time for Williams to be friend zoned one more time by a different woman.
Yes.
Rebecca sort of bears her soul and says, like, I've had hardships in my life. My parents are dead. They left my brother and me alone in the world, acknowledging the brother. That's good. But he says, I always feel like running away just like I feel now. I feel like running away, William. I hope that doesn't sound terrible to you. I really value your friendship, William. You have become very important to me.
Oh, boy. And just then he's like putting the arm around, contemplating the popcorn box trick, everything. And she's like, no, you're a good friend.
Yes. And I guess I misread that. I thought about Timothy, but that's happening to every guy here.
Sure. Yes, that's right. But it says, so they're at this camp, right? And then they have a nice meal. So they're still, I guess they're not living off K rations anymore. They have a nice meal. After the meal, everyone rested for the night. Rebecca couldn't sleep. So not everyone rested for the night. Sorry about that.
Right. Let me walk that back a bit. You're very concerned about that, I'm sure. And Gwendevier then does take the opportunity to use her magic crystal ball and the Orin the owl.
With his beautiful eyes.
Big, beautiful owl eyes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She looks into the crystal ball and saw what Orin saw. She saw the inhabitants of the lands of Antigua ready to go to battle with her. She saw the knights and centaurs practicing with their bows and arrows and their swords. She saw the miniwads sharpening their weapons. Orin, could you look at something a bit more important? Can you, yeah. Could you maybe focus on those teens who just retrieved the arrows like the prophecies foretold and not the mini-wads?
I got to get a joystick on this owl. I can point it around.
Yeah, right.
This thing is not... But the owl saw the three kings discussing battle strategy with each other. She saw the head knights of the three kings having their own meeting to discuss the impending battle.
Wow, rival meetings.
The head knights are going like,
cool.
So, what kind of beer do you like?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I like a good dark. I'm an IPA man. Like, you and your IPAs.
You just pretend to like those. How could anyone?
They taste like soap to me. And she's like, oh, battle plans, eh?
Yeah, because we aren't known if they are able to hear this. So yeah,
no, we can't hear.
No, that is a heated battle plan. Wow.
Yes.
Gozarf comes in. She tells him he kneels down to her, and she tells him, "You can worship me later." So that's an interesting wrinkle here, is that they worship her as a god, which is just more subtext. We'll explore it in the Silmarillion of this universe.
Right, and she says like, "Okay, we're gonna, now is the time. We're gonna destroy them. I got to get around to this. I was gonna throw a fair and have."
Right,
jugglers.
The traditional way, sure. Yeah.
Yes, but I should probably get to this. So go grab that kid, Jonathan, and so he does. And the wizard Jonathan was sitting in the corner of the dungeon on the floor. A couple of rather large rats ran across the dungeon floor. Jonathan, potential weapons everywhere, dumb shit.
Yes, absolutely.
Grab a spine and start stabbing, you dumbass.
If Jonathan had stabbed Gozarf in the neck with a rat spine that he had sharpened, again,
yes.
I'd be calling the Library of Congress to.
we would just go, goodbye, everyone. It has been a good couple of years here at 372.
Oh man, what a wuss! He didn't even eat one of them.
No,
he was full of cow's
milk. Watch them, yes. Bread and jam and cow's milk.
Which is the cat is now drinking cow's milk, but the queen, the evil sorceress, kicks the bowl. She took her foot and kicked the bowl of milk against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So cow's milk everywhere.
Yeah.
We get this description too. The evil sorceress's entire army of goblins, which were half human and half bat. I forgot whether that was new information or not. I knew that they slept in the walls and you could see their eyes, but that wasn't a trait I really associated with bats.
I did not know that half of them could fly, which I find out here, I guess. And there, I assume this. What is it? The steel weapons?
Oh yeah, the trolls were making.
Trolls make the steel weapons, so that's all done. That's good. Remember, that was a supply chain problem.
They were trying to make as many as they could.
And he had to go. He's like, "Where are they?" And he got there, and he kind of yelled at them, like, "You're making 3 weapons per hour. I want 12." And they're like, we can't do it. But he beat them, and they did.
Yes, right.
So I assume everyone has a stainless steel weapon. Oh, I'm assuming stainless. I probably just steel.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, whether that technology exists here.
Yeah. And then so the queen gives them this big speech, and this one really puzzled me.
Okay.
The inhabitants of the land of Antigua. This is her yelling to her forces, and she doesn't need a megaphone or anything, they can hear her.
Okay.
I'm thinking of, the army of Sauron, or Saruman from the top of his tower. Cool. The inhabitants of the land of Antigua can all be destroyed at this point. I am no longer interested in them bowing down before me.
Okay.
So this is quite a change.
Yeah.
So, like, her generals, who she had been training for months to build, like, series of POW camps.
Win hearts and minds, maybe.
Equip, provide supplies for them. Learning to speak their language so that they can communicate with them. So there's got to be, like, all these logistics guys in her armies just shrugging and looking around like, what the...
Yeah.
What was I just doing? So now we're just going to kill them all?
Strategy plan again? Yes. Information we could have used yesterday.
I mean, I ordered, like, the lumber that I ordered, the concrete to make the slabs, and I'm going to build these POW camps on. So we're just not doing that. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and she's up there being like, I can't hear you in this tower. It only works one way. Project.
Oh, yeah, but that's a last-minute change to be made. I mean, that's a big one.
It is surprising, and it is. I wish we had, gotten a glimpse of what those meetings would be like, or what she sort of saw her role.
Right.
If they were going to be, maybe they're going to be worshiping her like Gozarf did.
Yeah. So I guess she would be sitting at the end of this table, probably looking at her phone, and they're like eating jam and bread and stuff, and sipping tea, and like, all right. So on day one, we capture 4,000 of them, and we stuff them into this barbed wire area. General Griesgraf, I assume you ordered the barbed wire.
I have the barbed wire. We've got plenty of hardtack to be feeding them. It's not going to be a good existence for them, but they're prisoners. That's what they're going to be expecting by that point in time.
Oh, we have an experienced person who's been through many wars. What kind of acreage do we need for each camp, assuming 1,000 per day of prisoners? And she's going like, how long is it going to take?
Yeah, she doesn't look up from her phone being like, nah, we're just going to kill them all. Change my mind.
But, I've already ordered. I've requisitioned. You can't imagine.
Save the receipts. It's just not interested. I'm evil. I'll stiff them. I won't pay their bill.
Okay. All right. That won't sit well with the south, the west, and the slightly southeast. That's where they make the barbed wire.
I did order from my personal account, so that's the negative feedback's gonna
really ding me.
Hurt my ability to buy collectible WWE merchandise.
But I will say this toast and jam is good. So there's that.
And cow's milk. That's better than the goblin milk we usually drink. You know which one. The scrotes that comes from.
All right, we're done here. Meeting over then? Okay.
She does say, take no prisoners. Prisoners would be absolutely useless to me at this point. So she had, she had a plan for them. They were going to be toiling or laboring or making swords or something.
I mean, bowing down, I don't know how long they would bow down to her.
Or just troll food, Maybe they need to. We have not been told what these things are eating. So
true.
Presumably the jam is saved only for her guests.
True. So they go to war, and then some of the goblins run. The other goblins flew through the air like small dragons. This was new to me. I'm sure it was mentioned before, and we'll get dinged on that.
Yeah.
That half of them can fly. So what is the difference? Like, what's the adaptation difference?
It said before that they were half human, half bat. I didn't know that it was half of them were human and half were bat.
Oh, okay. That's what she's saying. Okay. I was naturally thinking of like the centaur thing, but no, this is half of them are just guys. Hey, Dave, do you ever wonder why some of us are like fully bats?
Yeah. Well, I looked into that, Phil. It's goblins are like mules, where it depends whether your mom was a goblin and your dad was a human, or your dad was a goblin and your because the flying gene is actually recessive. So
got it. Say, is that a new polo shirt? That looks good on you.
Thank you. It is actually. Yeah, it's a Vineyard Vines.
Well, better grab a steel weapon, I guess. All right.
Yo, you got one, huh? Yeah, they were short, so I'm just going in with all three of my scrotums here.
Oh, look at my brother flying overhead. God, that guy can move. God, I feel like an idiot.
Half brother. Come on.
Yes. Yeah.
This is one of my favorite lines. The goblins are approaching The next morning, it cuts back to the heroes' camp. The next morning, everyone at the camp of the three kings got ready for battle. They made sure that all their campfires were completely out to protect the trees. What are we doing? In theory, we should probably have, maybe 500 words left a book here, and we're protecting trees from forest fires.
But so the whole thing is based on obviously the prophecy and the four arrows and the four.
Three princesses and Rebecca.
It just happens. So
yeah.
Next, Princess Trina, Princess Alexandra, Princess Sasha, and Rebecca took aim and pulled back on their bows. They released the bows, and the 4 special arrows flew up into the air at exactly the same time, just as the prophecy had specified. And so, all right, well, that was we're done. We're done here.
The 4 arrows pierced the dragon Vorultrar's body. Before he died, the dragon Vorultrar let out a piercing scream.
Piercing, good. Okay.
Yeah, that could be heard all over the land of Antigua. He fell to the ground and died. So, yeah, not super impressive once he fedges up against the teen girls. What was very funny was that right before that, Thranduil had called upon the clouds of the sky to bring lightning to destroy Dragon Vorultrar. A lightning bolt struck him and wounded him, but it didn't destroy him. It just made him angrier and more dangerous. So it's like,
you should have known that.
We've got the fucking prophecy here that we've been talking about all month long. Like you couldn't wait 30 seconds to try it. It's like, I just learned a new spell. Thought it might help. I don't know. Shaking up from Jonathan leaving.
Hey, live and learn, man. Pencils, erasers. What am I supposed to do? But also the prophecy, does it get into that granular a detail? Just that they released the bows and the 4 special arrows exactly at the same time, just as the prophecy had specified. So the prophecy is more like a
instruction manual?
Yeah, it's a how-to. It's like a YouTube video of, hey guys, sorry I haven't posted in a while, but here's how you destroy the blue dragon Vorultrar. And so I was out, I was sick a lot of you know that. Like, would you just tell us how?
Skip ahead 5 minutes.
And then you skip it. And then grab the arrows. You'll have to go up to the head centaur of the unicorns to get those. Like, God, put one of those links to
the thing, yeah. And he's typing all this out on a notepad window as he's narrating it as well.
And then so pull back the arrows all at the same time, all at the same. Yeah, okay, all right. Oh, we got it. That's the prophecy.
The other note here too was that it says they only had one chance to destroy it. Then it says the evil sorceress Gwendevier truly did not know about the special arrows, as if it's like trying to convince us. It's like, no, like I'm just going to accept whatever you tell us at this point in time, book, because if you say she doesn't know about it, I'm not going to be like, but does she really?
Oh my God.
So, I mean, so the section ends, the dragon is dead, and then there's like still some goblins and trolls that are attacking, and centaurs are unleashing arrows. We get Centaur Heracles back. He's shooting bows and arrows at the goblins in the air and on the ground. And the chapter ends with the centaur archers let loose arrow after arrow at their enemies. So we're sort of ending here right in the middle of some exciting stuff.
Well, this would be like just the way they handled this, like killing the blue dragon Vorultrar, which is the whole prophecy. In Lord of the Rings, obviously in the movie, they lead to this, and then really that scene of Gollum. Spoiler alert, by the way, Gollum does destroy the ring of power. He doesn't just he's on the way there and he trips over a log and falls in and they go, oh, well, it's destroyed. All right.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot going on around it. There's a lot of time focused on it. There's a lot of drama sort of wrung out of this moment. But this is truly just and then they did what the prophecy, and so the end. And
yeah,
I don't know, back to the fair, I guess. I don't know.
It even tips the hand. It says before he died, he let out a scream, then he fell to the ground and died. So you know it's coming, even though it's only a sentence apart from each other. So I don't know. He was probably still shaken up by his failure to find them in the cave, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah. So frustrated by that. How can I not know how to look in caves? I mean, really? Who raised Voltrar anyway? Voltrar's mom raised a fool, that's who.
But I guess they still have to take out the sorceress, so that's what we might see happen in this next section. Maybe she challenges her to a game of foot polo. I guess we'll find out.
I have one confession to make. I'm not doing well at reading. I'd hate reading a book with no chapters.
Yeah.
And no indication, not even spaces between paragraphs.
Uh-huh.
So I read just a tiny bit.
Oh, dear. Right.
Yeah, like a tiny bit.
Okay.
But the only thing I took away from it was we get a lot of good lists of centaurs. So I'm super excited about that. That's the only thing I saw. And then I was like, wait a minute.
It's been a while.
We're describing centaurs. It's probably done. I'm probably done. So
that's saving a hit for the encore, I guess.
Yes.
Well, we have gone pretty long, so maybe we can wrap up with some...
And I know we want to let the listeners have their turn, but I will say I'm assuming mine is going to get burnt because there is a sentence in here that I assume that at least 3 people sent in, but we shall see.
We have one that 3 people sent in, so we'll see if it happens to be that one.
All right.
Before we read sentences, we got an email. We'll read some more emails after the fact for Patreon. This one's from Brian. And he says, hey, Conor and Mike, love the show and look forward to it every episode. Recently, my wife was in a traumatic car crash where her car flipped over and has had a lot of trouble sleeping. She's okay, just bruised up. Okay, that's good.
Oh, my gosh.
After looking for multiple solutions, nothing seemed to work until Antigua. I told her, let me try reading you this story I've been reading lately. So, all right. Hopefully you gave her some time to get home and get adjusted. For the past 5 nights, as I'm reading Antigua, she first laughs, then becomes enraged, then falls into a deep sleep. The one thing she can't stand is the constant, never-ending recapping of what was just said.
Okay.
Thanks, Antigua, for being the tranquilizer my wife needed in a hard time, and thank you guys for the laughs to help all the stress this has caused. Thank you for listening, Brian, and I'm glad your wife is okay and that Antigua is some sort of balm in this hard time.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's a very complex solution to a complex problem, like the fact that laughter, rage, lots of things all work together. I will say my own son, he had a non-injurious thing, but he did roll his car once, and so I completely sympathize. It was very traumatic, so I'm glad that Antigua is helping that and continued healing on that, of course.
Yes, and if only your son had Gordle the gorilla to see him through the end of there, it might have been an easier road to recovery.
Oh, I sent him a Gordlegram. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He didn't know what it was. He probably thought he's like, is this the light at the end of the tunnel? What is happening?
Yes.
But wishing her a full recovery. Let's get into some dumb sentences. Here's the first one I have. It's submitted by 3 people. Jeffrey, Justin, and John all submitted this. But you, my young wizard, is not indestructible.
Yes, I win.
Oh, wow, really?
That's the number of people who sent it in.
That's incredible. That should count for something in the fanfic stats.
Yes.
I think Jeffrey said, if someone asked me to boil down the glorious stupidity of Antigua into one sentence, it just might be this one.
Yeah. Well, just to read it again, but you, my young wizard, is not indestructible. So I just wanted to have it in the clear again. There you go.
Isn't there a MST line where the woman says, like, you is a werewolf?
Yeah, something like that, yes.
Elizabeth submitted, she took her foot and kicked the bowl of milk against the wall, and she said it sounds like she removed her foot and used it to kick the bowl. Alex submitted, the only light the forest had came from the moon that was located right in the sky above it. The forest had that light. Chap submitted, Brandon asked, well, Casanadora, what is a beautiful woman such as yourself doing in a dreadful place such as Blackwoodsbury Forest? Janelle submitted, William yelled, Jonathan, that was the second time you tried to electrocute me this week. And she, just like me, said she legitimately laughed out loud at that sentence. Jay submitted, hopefully you will find a few unicorns to ride on to get you through the forest. And he said he thought the same thing. It sounds so callous and uninvested. Aren't the unicorns unintelligent? I don't know. I guess people just use them as transportation and gold box carrying here.
Yeah, I guess they're the bikes, right? That you can just take the bike and park it back. As long as you put it back in a rack, you can just use it.
Unicorn share, like the scooters all over Nashville.
Yeah.
This is submitted by Primate Brain, probably not his real name. Sasha yelled out, to the land of Antigua. Andy submitted, Centaur horns men blew their horns so loudly that everyone stopped and walked over to the three kings. It's a very hard thing to read. It's hard to envision it if you can't see it. But it's Centaur horns men.
Yes. Oh, yes. That was that tripped me up. Yeah. You heard it live.
He says it's not necessarily dumb, but it's definitely virtually incomprehensible. Mandy submitted. The wizard apprentice Jonathan said to himself sarcastically, "A talking cat is all I need right now," and she's going to imagine Eric Roberts reading that part for the rest of the book. Mike submitted this one. This one's good. This is the sorceress' army advancing. The Black Panthers ran ahead of them all because of their speed. And Mike said, yeah, their speed determined their speed. I'm guessing they were also heavier than the goblins because of their weight, taller than the goblins because of their height, and furrier of the goblins because of their furriness.
If they were heavier, they could have been used in the fourth challenge that was never
depicted.
Sure,
that would have been great. Oh, man. A panther that's really been hitting the cow's milk. Jeff submitted, they released the bows and the 4 special arrows flew up into the air at exactly the same time the prophecy had specified, just as the prophecy had specified. And he had the same questions as you. Does it truly specify releasing all 4 arrows at once or just striking them? Mark submitted, one of the cows said moo. Yes. And he said he didn't moo. He also, like the gorillas and foxes, it has the power of speech, and yet it's still choosing to say moo. And then Harris submitted, everyone jumped up from their seat and stood up, which is, he says, opposed to when you jump up and immediately fall back down. I had 2 ones that did not get burned.
Oh, nice. Okay.
The first one is the tree. This is in Blackwoodsbury Forest. The tree was more alive than William had imagined. And, his limits of imagination are probably quite unimpressive, but alive is definitely a binary thing, right? It's either one or the other. So he had hard to be more alive than he had imagined if William had imagined that it was just dead, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there are, you see a dead tree, like it just hasn't fallen over yet or whatever.
Okay, sure, if we're going to parse it like that.
But there's definitely a thing that it's either alive or dead, yes. Yeah.
And then the second one was, I think this was the king, maybe? I do not want her to see 2 wizards, 3 princesses, and this young lady riding through the skies on magic wands. It's just that's the king on the cusp of the battle that will define the rest of the future of the kingdom. He's just obsessed with the teens.
Yes. Oh man, I'm pretty proud of picking that sentence and
that's remarkable.
Predicting how many people would have sent it in.
Was that the guy talking to? Was he talking to Jonathan during the competition?
That's the evil sorceress Gwendevier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when she's not kicking cow's milk across the floor with her foot.
Detachable foot, yeah.
Detachable foot. She's
my favorite King Missile song.
Yeah, she's singing that. So yeah. Well, as I said at the beginning, a lot of notes. Sorry, but this is what this book is doing to us.
It's dense. It's just full of riches. It's like a treasure chest that the dragon presumably would have been hoarding in one of those caves if he hadn't been afraid to go in them and look for the teen wizard apprentices.
And, of that, Larry calls up his friend Eric Roberts. Is like, hey, you going to do that movie? Because I'm going to put a cat in my book, too. And Eric Roberts says, yeah, right, I am. I'm coming over. All right, you come over. And so that's how I imagine this ends.
That is a dark web recreation waiting to happen. It will have to wait for next time, though. When we finish Antigua Part 1, the book, Land of Fairies, Wizards, and Heroes. I cannot wait, and I can't wait for you to get a chance to read the last paragraph at your own speed.
I'm very excited. Yes, without it being thrust in front of my face by a traitor. All right.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Patreon.
Yep. So long.